No dobra, już chyba wiem, w czym był problem i chyba go naprawiłem. No i namierzyłem, w czym był problem. Zrobiłem właśnie to, czego nigdy nie powinienem robić, już parę razy się na to naciąłem. To znaczy, przełączyłem sobie obraz na monitor po tym, jak już odpaliłem OBS-a. No wtedy, no, karta do przechwytywania tego nie lubi. Więc uff. To nic z moją kartą, to po prostu ja dwa razy zrobiłem to, potem jak drugi raz próbowałem, to zrobiłem dokładnie to samo. Więc musiałem zacząć streama trzeci raz. Ale jak mówiłem, futro wygląda świetnie.
Luckily, we will not need to perform any heroics. Unless you count smiling and waving. Right.
Give a big welcome to the Grand Marshals of our parade, Ratchet and Clank!
No naprawdę wygląda ta gra super. Najmniej cutscenki, zobaczymy jak gameplay. Oh yeah. A dobrze, jak ktoś nie zna franczyzy, to może sobie nadrobić. To jest kto? Map offline.
Yes, folks, we have a momentous day in store for you. Starting with me, and ending with a surprise gift from Clank to Ratchet.
Czy to będzie jakiś turniej?
Dear, must he tell the entire galaxy?
Wait, a gift? For what?
Oh, you will see. It is awaiting us at the front of the parade route.
Oh yeah. Dobra, rozwalamy skrzynki. O to w tej grze chodzi.
With Ratchet, a restless tinkerer, hungry for adventure.
No, ja dopiero odpaliłem, więc ciężko mi powiedzieć, czy gra jest warta tych pieniędzy, ale wygląda super. Na razie właśnie tak gram i sobie podziwiam grafikę.
That night, Clank's ship came crashing from the night sky. Rescued an affected
Nie wiem dlaczego, ale kojarzy mi się ten opening z początkiem Avengers, Marvel Avengers, tej ostatniej gierki. Może dlatego, że ono też się zaczynało od parady celebrującej bohaterów. No i sorry w ogóle za te problemy techniczne, ale właśnie tak jak mówiłem, popełniłem błąd.
And now, our heroes will clear this festive barricade.
Okej. Na razie wszystko działa jak w Ratchetach.
Invasion of Kurwa. Show the crowd some of those world-class sharpshooting skills.
No, ale fajnie, że celowanie jest takie już bardzo TPP-owe. W sensie, że nawet widok jest za ramienia. Wydaje mi się, że chyba w tym Ratchetie na PS4 chyba jeszcze aż tak się nie przybliżało. Może pamiętam celowanie w tych Ratchetach na PS2 starszych. Tam to nie było zbyt intuicyjne.
The
No, ale jest czuć, że opór stawiają z pusty, więc jest wykorzystanie tych triggerów.
Is this supposed to be a reenactment of?
Ratchet, I do not believe this is part of the show.
Dobra. No, strzelanie na razie ma fajny feeling. Podoba mi się.
Someone put a bounty on us?
O shit! Wow! Okej, czyli to po prostu taki tutorial i będziemy teraz wszystkie mechaniki sobie testować. O jest! Coś mi nie wychodzi przy skakaniu tych balonów.
Activating magna boots.
Ale spoko, że od razu w sumie mamy większość gadżetów, które znamy z poprzednich części. Nice. Okej. Wow.
We're smiling and waving, huh?
I would bet the blogs are behind this, or the Cragmites, or...
No, wrażenie pierwsze bardzo dobre.
No way. The fairy is
Początek taki konkretny, z pierdolnięciem. Dobra, powinienem mniej patrzeć się na czata, więcej na grę. Bo zaraz zginę w tutorialu. O, amunicja, oh shit. W razie czego, jakbym się zapomniał, bo gra już mnie wciągnęła, to pingnijcie mnie, jak będziemy się zbliżać do 21. Żebym nie zapomniał przełączyć się na konferencję. Nice.
Our hero's favorite is the enemy. He must walk
Mysteries of the Great
Ciekawe, czy jest damage zależny od tego, w które miejsce się strzela. W sensie, czy można robić headshoty.
more goons incoming.
Oh shit. No, szybko się leveluje broń. Już w tutorialu level wbity. O shit! Zaszedł mi od tyłu.
end this.
Silniki trzeba strzelać, czy w sumie obojętnie? No, a to wszystko działa jak w starych Ratchetach, czyli można skakać, gdy się strajfuje, to zawsze mi się podobało.
A little rusty, but not too bad.
Oh yeah!
And now, we reach the present of our hero's story. Ratchet, the last known wombat, whose kind is lost in a
A to jest dobre pytanie, bo no na PS4 dostaliśmy w sumie tylko jednego Ratcheta. Ale przypuszczam, że jest szansa na drugiego, skoro wydali tego tak wcześnie. Chociaż też z drugiej strony Insomniac, no ma co robić. Może jeszcze przecież zrobić Spidermana, no i właśnie niby jakieś tam już się pojawiły przebłyski
I had a speech
co do marki Sunset Overdrive.
under assault. I will cut to the chase. Ratchet, I do not know where I would be without you. You are my closest friend, my teammate, and you have given up a lot to... I have repaired the Dimensionator, so you can travel through dimensions and find your family.
O, jak słodko.
Oh, Dr. Nefarious?
Ratchet and Clank! What a wonderful surprise! I didn't expect to see you here. Considering my goons were meant to annihilate you 8 minutes ago.
No, na razie właśnie w sumie nie wiadomo, czy ogromny sukces, w sensie na pewno krytyczny, tak, ale zobaczymy, jak się sprzeda. Znaczy, no dobra, wątpię, żeby się słabo sprzedało, ale no ciekawe, czy to będzie ogromny sukces, czy po prostu się sprzeda, bo na razie nic więcej nie ma na PS5. Ale ja szczerze mówiąc nawet nie wiem, czy chciałbym kolejnego Ratcheta. Bardziej właśnie chciałbym zobaczyć coś innego od Insomniac, właśnie chociażby Sunset Overdrive 2. Co tu się dzieje? Wielki balon kapitana Quarka jakoś mnie śmieszy. Chyba jest? O Boże, jeszcze tylko 20 minut mamy, kurde, a się wkręciłem. Znaczy, kurde, dopiero tutorial, ale naprawdę jestem pod wrażeniem po prostu tego, ile się tu dzieje. I jak to wygląda po prostu w ruchu.
We have to get the Dimensionator away from Dr. Nefarious.
Yes, and quickly. Whatever he has planned, it cannot be good.
Wow, 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 wow. Dobra, udało się. Here we are. No po prostu w sumie Ratchet no nigdy nie był aż taki widowiskowy jak to. Przynajmniej nie mam w pamięci aż takich rozbudowanych sekwencji, takich setpisów. Prawie normalnie jak Uncharted. Pytanie tylko, czy to nie jest tak, że cały budżet poszedł w początek i potem już będzie skromniej, ale zobaczymy.
I should have known Nefarious would try something like this.
Don't beat yourself up. This'll be just like old times. Come on. It looks like Nefarious landed somewhere near the train station. Go, Mrs. Zircon. We should grab a weapon.
Need a weapon? Mrs. Zircon has it all.
Oh yeah, możemy sobie coś kupić już od razu, nice. The Enforcer. O, siemka Adrian, dawno cię nie było. Trudny wybór. Ale chyba wolę Enforcera. Jakoś nigdy ta rękawica mi się nie podobała. W Ratchetach. W sensie, no nie to, że mi się nie podobała, ale po prostu to była jedna z broni, której najrzadziej używałem. Więc kupuję Enforcera.
That is the sound of pure power and the Enforcer with its
Nice. Dobra, biorę to. Gdzie się kupuje?
you have a good eye.
More goons! Incoming!
To chyba ten fragment był pokazywany jakoś na którejś z prezentacji, kojarzę. Okej. Dobre to jest. Czy chce mi się Koch oglądać? No to jest dobre pytanie. Bardziej to robię z takiego kronikarskiego obowiązku, że tak powiem, bo streamuję te konferencje, no to streamujemy już wszystko, no. Pewnie za wiele tam nie będzie to jakieś specjalnie długie, ale obejrzymy sobie, zobaczymy co to. Bo fakt, no w sumie powiem, że kuszące jest sobie kontynuowanie grania w Ratcheta. Ale z drugiej strony mimo wszystko jestem ciekaw, bo w sumie pierwszy raz mają... Wow, 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 co to się dzieje?
Put down the Dimensionator, Nefarious.
Put down the Dimensionator. Yeah, right. Today you will see what losing feels like. Spoiler. His It's exhausting. As soon as I figure out these stupid coordinates.
I co teraz zrobi Ratchet?
Say goodbye.
O.
What did you do?
To chyba był błąd.
What just happened?
We may have a slight problem.
The bridge is shot. There has to be another way across.
The rifts are reacting to the face quartz in your glove. Try pointing it at one of them.
Alrighty.
This is definitely gonna come in handy. Ride the train to Countyville.
Muszę przyznać, że naprawdę nie spodziewałem się, że po prostu grafiką
Wonder how much Nefarious
ta gra na mnie takie wrażenie zrobi.
Not nearly enough.
Bo jakoś po trailerach, no ogólnie jednak o wiele, no to jest inny feeling, jak się gra w grę samemu na własnym ekranie, nie jest to jakiś właśnie zapis gameplayu z YouTube'a skompresowany. To jednak jest trochę co innego. Dobra. O, chyba można biegać, jak się kliknie analogiem. Czy on po prostu sam po jakimś czasie zaczyna biec? Nie, można biegać, jak się kliknie analogiem. O, shit.
Watch your head.
This is worse than I had imagined.
Ile jeszcze mamy czasu? 15 minut. Dobra, szybko. What the hell? Co tu się dzieje?
Sand sharks from above.
No wygląda to super po prostu. Ciekawe, czy to właśnie te odbicia to ray tracing.
Was that a kraken?
Or at least a very large octopus.
W którą stronę teraz? Może zobaczę, czy tu nie ma jakiegoś sekreta, czy coś. Tu ewidentnie jest strzałka zielona, więc pewnie tam mam iść. Oh shit.
Nefarious!
God damn, ta gra wygląda dobrze.
Find a way up there.
The taxis leaving from that stand are driving right by him.
Then we better not miss our ride. Hey, when did you
Zaraz pewnie będę musiał odszczekać to wszystko, co mówiłem, że kolejny Ratchet, czym tu się jarać?
Finding the Lombats
No i
is as
kurde, na razie się jaram.
I thought perhaps we could go together.
Wow, that's really thoughtful. But why don't we get it back from Nefarious first?
Alrighty. Uff. Myślałem, że nie zdążę. Gin. Co myślę o tym, że nowy Battlefield ma być na odgenach? W sumie nie przeszkadza mi to i też nie sądzę, żeby jakoś to strasznie wstrzymywało. Frostbite jest chyba dosyć dobrze skalowalny. No i z tego co wiem, mają być różnice, że po prostu właśnie mapy na next genach mają być większe, będzie więcej graczy. Więc... Siema, siema.
Next stop, Nefarious.
Ile mamy czasu? 12 minut. Ciekawe, czy zdążymy przejść pierwszy level.
Nefarious is in way over his head. What is that? Whoa! Hey!
O!
This is Zircon. This is Zircon.
No, taka jest gra multi, więc tutaj nie sądzę, żeby jakieś duże ograniczenia były. W sensie, no ja nie widzę, w jaki sposób może ich to ograniczać. Bo ani właśnie nie będzie tam AI, jakichś super skryptowanych sekwencji, no to jest gra multi. Więc właśnie jedyne co może ograniczać to liczbę graczy, którą może obsłużyć, no i grafikę. No i grafika wiadomo, na SG-nach będzie lepsza. I będzie więcej graczy, więc wszystko się zgadza. It. Oh boy. No i dobry ten enforcer. O, i level up. Nice. Nie mamy czasu? O Jezu, dobra, zaraz trzeba iść oglądać Koch Media. Najgorzej. Ale w Battlefieldzie, w grze tylko multi, to nie wiem jaki możesz mieć przeskok, oprócz tego, że właśnie no pewnie na next genach będzie lepsza grafika, będą lepsze tekstury, pewnie lepszy framerate, stabilniejszy. Zniszczenia prawdopodobnie też mogą być lepsze na next genach.
Alright, now let's get to Nefarious.
You two, these goons are useless. This is what I get for giving my assistant paid paternity.
Quickly, we cannot let Nefarious overuse the Dimensionator. We must lower his defenses.
Poza tym wydaje mi się, że no tak, ale właśnie Battlefield 3 z tego co pamiętam też wyszedł na past geny i wtedy jakoś nikt nie marudził, że nie będzie przeskoku i że to ogranicza twórców. No i był przeskok między generacjami, no jednak wersja na next geny była o wiele lepsza i ładniejsza. Oh shit.
Yes, run from me.
Kurde, zaraz musimy kończyć.
Oh dear, he is targeting us.
Wow, wow, wow. Poza tym wydaje mi się... A, to BF4. No mi się pomyliło z trójką. No ale właśnie pamiętam, że był taki Battlefield, który wyszedł na obie generacje. No i jednak było widać przeskok na tej nowej.
How many times have we heard that?
Poza tym, akurat co do Ratcheta, to wydaje mi się, że to by się dało zrobić na PS4 poza tymi loadingami. No bo PS4 nie ma SSD, ale tutaj jakby nie było ray tracingu, ściąć rozdzielczość, bo jak się to porówna z tym Ratchetem na PS4, to jednak oprócz tego, że tu jest wyższa rozdzielczość, lepszy framerate i tak dalej. Właśnie, czy ja mam coś... A, tu można to wykorzystywać do uników chyba. No. Tu też naprawdę, wydaje mi się, że właśnie takie mega skupianie się na grafice w grze multi. No, nie będzie czasu w tej grze, żeby sobie podziwiać teksturki i widoczki. Więc wydaje mi się, że w tego typu grze i tak przeskok nie jest aż tak ważny.
We're going to a dimension where I always win.
O. No dobra. A to też. Wow. No, to jest coś, czego nie dałoby się zrobić chyba. Znaczy na pewno na PS4. I. Damn, to jest imponujące. Wow.
It is certainly not good.
A,
Are we?
Beats me.
kurde. No naprawdę. Wow.
What manner of trickery? Get off me, ship! I'll greet
Dobra. Dojdziemy do momentu, gdzie jakby gra stanie na momencik. Tutaj chyba przed chwilą widziałem, był checkpoint. I przeprowadzamy się na streama.
Do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
This is the part where you lose.
Uh-oh.
The Dimensionator.
To nie może być dobre.
Ratchet? Oh dear, my arm. And no, the Dimensionator. What have I done?
What have you done?
Who are you?
Someone with a lot of questions. Let's go for a ride.
Wait, I have to find my friend.
Bez gadania sobie go przywłaszczyła. No kurde, jak tak można.
Hi? It's me? It's me! Edward! It worked! I am the winner!
Emperor Nefarious, you have returned early from your conquest.
I co teraz?
Emperor!
Ile mamy? 4 minuty. O! Idealny moment. Właśnie się zaczyna gra. O Jezu. Kurde, naprawdę no świetnie to wygląda.
Oh. Clank? Clank? Lombax? What is this place?
Oh yeah. No dobra. Idealny moment, żeby skończyć. Właśnie się zapisało.
Clank?
Wyłączam konsolę. I zaraz się przełączamy na streama z Koch Primetime. Dobra. Dajcie sekundę, odpalę. Kurde, gdzie jest to okienko? Dobra, już mam. O, akurat już jest odliczanie na ekranie. Stawię tylko najlepszą jakość. Full screen. I jedziemy. Znaczy nie jest dźwięk przypadkiem. Nie. A nie, jest. Siema, co do Ratcheta, na razie nie chcę w sumie tak definitywnie oceniać, ale początek zrobił na mnie ogromne wrażenie. Przede wszystkim wygląda super, jest dużo właśnie takich epickich, oskryptowanych momentów. No i wydaje mi się, że feeling wszystkiego jest o wiele lepszy. No i po prostu ta szczegółowość tej grafiki jednak dużo robi. Więc niby to samo, ale jednak właśnie ta lepsza oprawa, no i widać właśnie, że trochę kasy w to poszło, przynajmniej na początek. Zobaczymy jak będzie dalej, czy właśnie niczym już dalej nie zaskoczy, oprócz tego fajnego początku, czy... Ale na razie jestem pozytywnie zaskoczony. No jestem ciekaw, co oni w ogóle mogą pokazać ci Koch Media. Zwłaszcza, że w sumie chyba tam jakiś był tweet, gdzie mówili czego się nie spodziewać i w zasadzie większość rzeczy, które by chciało się zobaczyć u nich, to powiedzieli, żeby się tego nie spodziewać.
Hello there guys, my name is Opal Cadman and
Hello.
welcome. Today I have 3 main tasks. The first one is to introduce you to Koch Media's brand new premium gaming label. Number 2 is to take a deep dive into some of the games coming to that label. And finally, number 3 is to show you what the new label will be getting up to in the streaming world. I want to welcome streamers who are co-streaming this today. Hello. Some of you guys are guys who I have looked up to and watched for many years. And speaking of people who I've looked up to for many years, I am so proud
Dajcie
to
znać, czy nie jest
introduce
za głośno
Jeff
albo za cicho.
Healy, who will be helping me co-host us through this entire list of games. Jeff, how's it going?
Thanks, Opal. It is so great to be here with
Oh,
you for
yeah.
the first
Hey,
ever live
on był
stream
też
from
wczoraj.
Prime Matter. I was honored yesterday to reveal the label to the world at the Summer Game Fest
Kurde,
kickoff
jakoś
event, and wow, you've got a lot
strasznie
of games there in that sizzle,
starą
over a dozen
macerę.
games. So I know today you're going to go a little bit
Ale może
more
to
in
jak
depth,
kamera
to
wydatnie
talk
wszystko,
about
bo
all these
widać, że
games, talk
bardzo
about the
wysoka
developers.
jakość.
But for those of you that might have missed it yesterday or just want to see it again, let's kick things off with a look at that announcement sizzle reel for Prime Matter.
To jest chyba to samo co wczoraj.
Sometimes I ask myself
Ten taki
What it all
mix
means.
tych wszystkich gierek.
Let's begin.
Czyli Prime Matter to jest ich taki label, w którym będą opatrywać swoje takie premium game, wydawane przez, czyli takie wysokobudżetowe produkty. Tyle zrozumiałem na razie. No właśnie. Możliwe, że u Microsoftu też będzie. U Nintendo. Właśnie, czy on
Is
kiedykolwiek
that
był u
who you
Nintendo?
are?
My purpose makes me who I am.
Spoko, dobrze, że audio jest w porządku.
Being relied on to succeed where others would fail.
Aż otworzę sobie wodę. No właśnie widzę, że ten trailer, tak patrzę jak na paski sygnału audio, to widzę, że właśnie ten trailer był strasznie głośno, ale chyba dalej będzie lepiej.
And counting. And that's just the start for Prime Matter. But before we get into these incredible games, what I like to call the juicy bits, I want to talk to you about what Prime Matter is and who we are. Prime Matter is the new premium gaming label of Koch Media. It dedicates itself to delivering a range of immersive and diverse games from amazing development talent all around the globe. It highlights the varied influences of global studios and their different approaches to game making. The new label will lead
Kingdom Come na razie robią
and
wersję switchową,
expression with games that enthrall players,
więc trochę w odwrotną
larger-than-life
stronę poszli.
storytelling, create incredible moments, and
Ale
above
Kingdom
all,
Come chyba po prostu w ogóle powinno teraz
the
lepiej
team
działać na
behind
next
Prime
genach,
Matter is a melting
bo
pot of
SSD
incredible
i
talent,
tak dalej.
led by seasoned
Będzie w trybie wstecznej
industry
kompatybilności
veterans
powinno już
and
być lepiej.
complemented by a young, fresh, dynamic team of multicultural gaming experts. The team behind are gamers at
Nowy
heart,
Painkiller?
working
A
with
to
such
akurat
a wide
spoko.
range of passionate developers producing games together by gamers for gamers. And that being said, for all you keen-eyed individuals out there, you would have seen that one game was actually missing in our 12-game lineup for Prime Matter during the video. That is a game that comes from the Embracer family itself. Jeff got to sit down with Todd Hollinshead and talk all about Painkiller.
All right, you saw
Mam
the
nadzieję, że
news
jednak pokażą grę, a nie tylko będą
yes, there's
rozmawiać
a
o
new
Painkillerze.
Painkiller coming, and Todd is joining me now to maybe
No,
give us a
Ratchet
few
się
more
zmienił,
details.
jednak
I
myślałem, że to będzie kolejny
this
Ratchet, a
is
tu
kind
proszę.
of a fresh
Jeff Keighley się
project for
pojawia.
the team at Saber, and you guys, first of all, I love that you and Tim Willits are there, continuing to build out Saber. And Painkiller was a franchise. You and I are both OG. We remember it was it probably 15 years ago at this point?
Yeah, it's been a while. Closer to two decades than one.
My God. All right. Well, but it's one of those classic games. Let me ask you, from a Prime Matter perspective, you've been in the industry like me all those years, and we remember that game. Why was this a franchise that you guys wanted to sort of bring back?
Well,
Serio, wczoraj właśnie podali w tweetie, że będzie port na Switcha Kingdom Come. Ale robią go ci sami kolesie, co zrobili port Wiedźmina, więc widać są specjalistami od niemożliwych portów.
As a publisher at Saber. So, we're hoping to capture those same sort of elements and bring those into the new game.
Yeah, you guys are certainly masters of doing shooters from all your time at id, and Painkiller does have a lot of that DNA of fast-paced action with a little bit of a twist to it, and the fact you guys are working with Prime Matter is also exciting. Brand new publisher, brand new label. What do you think of the fact that they're doing this label, and it's such a diverse lineup of companies and partners around it? I know you guys work with a lot of publishers, but it's pretty exciting to
W sumie faktycznie dziwne, bo myślę, że spokojnie dałoby radę zrobić GTA 5 na Switcha, bo przecież to tak naprawdę gra z PS3.
It's just a business that is growing. We've got great leadership at the top, and so Koch Media is, wanting to expand.
Tylko przypuszczam, że im się nie opłaca, chyba żeby zrobili tylko singla po prostu, ale właśnie przypuszczam, że online na Switchu nie byłby super popularny.
It kind of makes me think of this is what we do when we make video games. You sort of start with Pixel Zero, and then at the end of the day you make a game. So I feel like that kind of resonates with hopefully the type of experiences that we're going to be providing, not just within Prime Matter and working with them between Saber and our partnership, but across the
Znaczy, fajnie, że zaprosili devów i tak dalej.
Yeah, no,
ale
it sounds
powinien
like
to
they
być
have a
trochę
lot of
krótsze,
games
już
in
powinien
development.
być
The fact that
gameplay.
you are bringing back Painkiller is really exciting, and I know fans, of course, want to know a little bit about what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of details about it, but you're kind of in the early stages of development now on this?
Yeah, super early, and if I anything that I would share, I'd probably get assassinated for back home once I got back to the developer, because all these the first stuff that comes out almost always gets sort of iterated on and changed, and so we're trying to keep the lid on the details until we have something that's going to be really awesome to show.
All right, well, we'll be waiting for it, and we know with,
To po co w
you
ogóle
involved,
znaczenia? No
it's
dobra, no
gonna
jednak
be something
Painkiller
very
to taka marka, że
special,
wystarczy rzucić
fast-paced
hasło
action, I have
i
no doubt.
znaczy,
So,
może
Painkiller
przesadzam, ale wśród hardkorowych
coming
graczy to jest
soon
lubiana
from
marka,
the
więc
team
może
at,
dlatego
Saber,
to rzucili, mimo
published
że nie mają
by
nic do
Prime
pokazania.
Matter. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Jeff.
I really can't wait to hear more about Painkiller and the fact that Todd and Tim and the team at Saber are working on it. I think we're going to get something pretty special when they
No
are
ja
ready to
grałem
share
w
more.
Wiedźmina
So,
premierowo na
exciting
PS4
stuff
i
in that sizzle reel,
na bagnach
Painkiller,
było
Payday,
ciężko.
but I know there's a lot more we're here to talk about today as well, right, Opal?
Actually, Prime Matter has 12 games under development right at this minute. We're so excited to show you guys what us and the developers have been up to. However, before you see some of
Albo
the
jak
content
była
that we
taka
show you
scenka,
today,
co się
I do
pojawia
have to
Dziki
make
Gon
it
chyba po
clear
raz
that
pierwszy.
some of this is
Tam co taki
pre-alpha,
wieśniak siedzi w
alpha,
domku i
high-level
patrzy na to,
concept, and some of it is
to
about
tam
to release right around the
padało
corner.
mocno
So, please
framerate.
keep that in mind
Dobra, to
when
tylko
you're viewing
cutscenka, ale
today's show.
jednak.
That being said, how do you guys feel about a psychedelic third-person survival horror game set on what it means to go on a journey about self-enlightenment and what happens when it all goes wrong? I got to speak with the developers of The Chant, work in progress title, about their game and who they are.
Our game is about a group of people who go to a spiritual retreat to seek
Ciekaw jestem tylko,
enlightenment,
czy
and they
z jakiejkolwiek
basically get
gry
a
coś
little more than
pokażą,
they
bo na razie
bargained
są
for.
rozmowy z
And
deweloperami.
your character
Ale
has to deal with her own
chciałbym zobaczyć
personal
jakieś
issues
konkrety.
as well as the cosmic terrors that become awakened.
Cool. So, what type of genre is this game?
And it's a bit hard to pin down with the with all the different influences and styles of gameplay, but I'd say we're probably a survival action horror game.
Okay. Cool. And
Do
what
tego
was
portu
the,
na Switcha to
what
wydaje
was
mi
the
się, że jeżeli
thinking
ktokolwiek
behind
ma
that
zrobić
genre?
ten
Is it
port,
something
to
that you guys
właśnie
like,
myślę, że
or
ludzie, którzy
is it
zrobili
just
port
it came
Wiedźmina
left field?
na Switcha
What's your
są
decision behind
odpowiednimi
that?
ludźmi.
Personally, we always wanted to make a horror game. A big part of our core team have a background in third-person sandbox games, and we really wanted to combine, action mechanics, deep storytelling, and we felt that the horror genre was a really exciting space to take that background and play around with.
So, kind of sticking with the horror genre, why did you decide to go with that theme? It's not really like normally what you would see, this whole spiritual awakening thing. So what was the idea behind that?
Ale nieźle, że gra jeszcze nie wyszła, a już dostała ocenę B.
Territory to explore. There is, there's a lot of influence from that with like folk horror of the 70s and giallo horror and so forth that really inspired us more from a film standpoint. And taking that kind of aesthetic, something that was very sensational, very colorful, and mixing it in with kind of more
Ratchet, tak jak już mówiłem, zrobił naprawdę mega pierwsze wrażenie. Bardzo dużo tam się od razu na początku dzieje, jest dużo takich set piece momentów. No i kurde, na żywo jak się na tę grę patrzy, to wygląda o wiele lepiej niż na trailerach. I faktycznie robi wrażenie i widać, czemu może na PS5, znaczy czemu może ta gra jest tylko na PS5.
A lot of games are very inspirational to us. Our game actually started off as a
Plus bardzo fajny feeling strzelania, no i tak ogólnie taki Ratchet Evolved.
Over the course of development.
Ale zobaczymy jak będzie dalej.
Especially really focusing on bringing more of an action element to it. We've since switched to an over-the-shoulder camera and haven't looked back.
So kind of talking about changes and what you guys are doing on the development side, how close is the game to like the original concept? I understand you guys are still developing the game's quite far out, but from your original concept to where the game is now, how much has that differed?
The core story and I'd say the aesthetic and the themes, those all remain intact. I'd say our gameplay, as our team size grew, we added deeper mechanics. I'd say more action to the game. Our game actually has a fair amount of combat in it,
no też jestem pod wrażeniem, bo właśnie wiadomo, jak troszeczkę narzekałem, że tylko kolejny Ratchet, ale jednak jak już złapałem kontrolę w łapę, to jest fajnie.
We're a very small team at first. We're still a relatively small team, but every new person that joins,
No niestety,
brings,
kupno PS5
brings
nadal
something new to the
to
mix.
jest
I'd say on
wyzwanie.
that end, the game is
Ogólnie
evolved
mocno
in
przepłaciłem za
scope
swoją
and depth of
PS5.
gameplay.
Awesome.
Ale z drugiej strony
sticking on that
jak
point of,
patrzę,
you've got a small
że
team,
ciągle są
there's a
teraz
lot of
problemy,
challenges
to
that comes with that.
no się
What
cieszę,
was
że
the
już mam z
hardest
głowy
part of making the
odświeżanie
game so
sklepów
far?
internetowych.
The hardest part was probably trying to make a game that has more realistic production values, because that's where our background comes from, on a smaller scale and budget. So for us, we had to be very strategic, utilizing Unreal. We wouldn't been able to build this game without utilizing an engine like Unreal. Previously, we had worked on more proprietary technology. And that's also great because new people that join the team can get up and running on the engine quite quickly. In addition to that, we've been using
Coś czuję, że dostaną gruby backlash za ten Koch w Primetime, że właśnie są tylko gadki i zero gameplayu. Znaczy powiem szczerze, że ta gra brzmi ciekawie, survival horror w takim spirytualistycznym klimacie i ten typek też się tak wypowiada, że widać, że lubi to, co robi, ale jednak chciałbym zobaczyć, jak to wygląda w ruchu.
So you've mentioned like experience in the past and also kind of how rich Vancouver is. How much does that come in handy when you're working on the game?
Oh, it's been extremely beneficial. Vancouver, is home to a lot of AAA studios. A large portion of us work together at Rockstar and United Front Games, and we also have people who have worked at the Coalition and EA, as well as some smaller independent studios as well. And in addition to that, having the film industry here, where we can utilize local talent. We're working with union actors. We're scanning actors as well that we're using for our characters, and we're actually currently auditioning a couple remaining characters for the game, and as well as doing the finishing touches on our new motion capture studio. So we're going to be doing a full cinematics push over the coming months. That's a really exciting place to be right now.
Awesome. Sounds great. In terms of exciting things, when it comes to this game, what are you most proud of at the minute where you are?
I think the thing I'm the most proud of is just what a small focused team can do when they're all, sharing the same goal and vision. As I said earlier, we come from different backgrounds, but everyone's managed to come together and really deliver an amazing amount of work for the team size we have, and it's really exciting to be working on a smaller team again, and just having that kind of energy where you're working with everyone on the team day to day.
Yeah, I imagine that is a lot different to probably what some of you are used to coming from those massive studios. So finally, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch, and also, being featured on their brand new label?
It's truly an exciting place to be. We've been kind of pushing our game as far as we could, and this partnership is really helping to provide more reach and more resources, but I think most importantly also just having a partnership on getting feedback and helping to really expand and push the vision of the game. We've already received a lot of feedback on the title, and being a small team, we're often in our own little echo chamber, and even in a short period of time we've been able to act on a lot of the feedback.
Nie wiem, albo może to jest bardziej taka konferencja dla inwestorów, żeby się zainteresowali, że powstaje taki nowy label i tyle studiów przy tym pracuje i w ogóle i będziemy gry z różnych gatunków, więc może zapłaca się zainwestować.
So thank you for your time.
From psychedelic horrors to internet rumors, our next developer created the huge open world of Bohemia and took us on an adventure through the Holy Roman Empire. However, there have been some leaks that this action RPG may have a home on the Switch. Opal sat down with Warhorse Studios to try and get to the bottom of this.
Że będzie na Switcha Kingdom Come.
That is quite some news.
Yes, that's true. Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And as you said, it's about gamers, devs, and games. In our case, or in this case, actually gamers play an integral part in the story.
What do you mean?
Well, some kind of confusion happened in the end of last year. We Warhol Studios were preparing the release of the Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition on PlayStation and Xbox, but someone most likely ticked the wrong box in Japan, and it looked like it's going to be released on Switch as well. Of course, by that time there was nothing existing like that. We were not even thinking about the possibility that Kingdom Come Deliverance could go on the Switch. However, Nintendo Japan took this information, some Japanese media, and then the snowball started rolling. All of a sudden it was the talk of the day. Kingdom Come Deliverance is releasing on the Switch, but as I said, nothing like that was planned at all, and we didn't even think about that.
Tego typa chyba kojarzę, widziałem na jakiejś prelekcji na Digital Dragons.
Somehow cursing around in the Nintendo database.
O
Nintendo of Spain posted a picture on Twitter where they had different pictures of open world games, and they were promoting already existing open world games on the Nintendo Store. And if you clicked on the picture, actually you couldn't, there was nothing like Kingdom Come Deliverance, of course not, because as I said, nothing like that is existing. However, again, it created confusion. People were talking about it again, like, okay, so is it coming, is it not coming? But for us, actually, and as I said, we didn't think about that until that time. For us,
no właśnie nie wiem, czy już można powiedzieć, że jest normalnie dostępny, bo chyba nadal trzeba trochę polować na to PS5. Aczkolwiek fakt, że ostatnio nie szukałem.
On the Nintendo Switch, so we started to think, and since we are already in the Koch Media family or the Embracer family, and there's a lot of talented studios, so is Saber Interactive, and who but them would be actually capable of bringing the Kingdom Come Deliverance version on the Switch. So we sat together, and now we are here talking about the Nintendo Switch version on Kingdom Come.
So what you're saying is that a community of gamers made this happen?
More or less, yes. The community feedback we got, of course, was a big drive for this entire project, but this comes from our general background. So think of the Kickstarter project we had in the day. So without the community, there wouldn't be any Warhol Studios or any Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we always try to be very close to them and working together with them, and even coming up with crazy ideas together with them. So, for instance, the Savior Schnapps, our own liquor we created later, was actually a community idea. We have our own beer brand. We recently released a blue brick set, like a building set for Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Muszę to w końcu kiedyś zagrać, bo mam
and now one of the latest projects is the Kingdom Come Deliverance soap bar, which should give you the real medieval smell. In that case, I must say, medieval smells actually pretty well. And we are coming up with crazy stuff like that all the time. Our next new merchandise project is a Farkle boxed board game, kind of. So Farkle, for those who don't know,
nie spodziewałem się, że ta gra ma aż takie
Kingdom Come Deliverance minigame, the dice minigame, you can play in the game. And now with Griffon Studios, we are coming up with a boxed version you can get and play Farkle at home against your friends or against your family or whatever. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. But generally, if you're interested in these kind of stuff, just check the Warhol Studios social media accounts. You get all the information you need there.
Ooh, my favorite. Soapy hot news. Speaking of soapy hot news, how do you feel about Warhorse being under the new label?
A w sumie aż ciekawości sprawdziłem i faktycznie.
It's a huge honor, of course. We were working together with Koch for over 4 years already. In 2019, we then even became part of the entire Embracer family. So that was a big thing, and now being able to take part at the beginning of something new, be there when there's a new label being created, that is a big thing for us. And especially if you consider that we come there as an established partner already, that is really cool, and we are looking forward to a bright future.
Thank you very much, Toby. We cannot see what Warhorse has got cooking. However, until that time, Toby, goodbye!
So are we. Thank you very much and see you.
From internet rumors.
Kurde, ale myślałem, że chociaż tego Kingdom Come na Switcha pokażą jakiś krótki fragment, jak to wygląda i działa.
All right, let's move from RPGs to FPS games. Final Form, which is a
Ej, oni
working
po prostu
title, is an
robią
action-packed
challenge,
sci-fi
zrobią
adventure.
konferencję
You play the
bez
role
żadnego
of a
trailera.
humanoid
No
avatar
dobra,
of a
jeden był trailer na
sentient
początku i bez
spaceship
żadnego
sent on a
gameplayu.
mission to the edge of the known universe to
Chcę
battle an
zobaczyć, ile ludzi
unstoppable
wytrzyma
plague.
do końca.
The game is still a long ways from completion, but here's a very quick peek at what's in store.
Long way from completion, to na pewno zobaczymy. O proszę. O jest. Ci pokazują trailer. Chyba przez tą muzykę mam takie Ghost in the Shell'owe vibe'y. No niby konsola nie jest za 3000, jest za 2800 i teoretycznie masz grę w komplecie, gdzie gra teoretycznie kosztuje 330, więc wszystko się zgadza. Masz grę i jeszcze ładowarkę do kontrolera.
Final Form is an action-packed, epic sci-fi FPS in which you are a female-formed humanoid machine on a space mission with no return.
At the heart of the game is a mystery and alien worlds to explore, but also an adrenaline-fueled combat. In Final Form, it's all about the freedom and power of movement, being a machine unrestrained by human weaknesses. There are numerous abilities and gadgets that come with your robotic body, so you can give yourself away to the fantasy of becoming an unstoppable cybernetic goddess, blazing away in a spectacular ballet of destruction.
Raycon is located in Warsaw, Poland, with additional team members located all over the world.
Aha, bo to jest Raycon Studio. No to oni zrobili Ruinera. A, to propsuje.
Since the success of Ruiner, we've grown quite substantially. Currently, Raycon is over 50 brilliant game creators. And counting. We are not a huge team, but what we love to do is to evolve together with our projects, constantly finding smarter and better ways to achieve something truly unique. We build our work environment just like we make games, aiming for the best results and personal fulfillment. We strongly believe that the well-being of team members needs to be taken care of first,
to w sumie niezły
skok
into a game. Z takiego Hotline Miami do pełnoprawnego FPS-a na Unreal Engine.
We're happy to be in the avant-garde of the upcoming new label. We're looking forward to share more on Final Form in the future. And in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of the show and see you around.
Dobra, ci przynajmniej potrafili tą grę jakkolwiek sprzedać i cokolwiek pokazać.
I have to say, guys, I love the soundtrack from Final Form. Moving on to our next game, which is just as special. What if you took Lovecraftian and Gagaris themes and mixed it all together with hardcore RPG elements? That's exactly what Massive Works Studios are doing. I got to sit down with their CTO to talk about their game, Dolmen.
O, znowu trailer, nice. Ej, czy tam nie jest literówka, czy nie powinno być World Premiere i na końcu? W sensie na tą pasku na dole. A, bo wy tego nie widzicie za bardzo. No wydaje mi się, że chyba, że to chodzi o premiera świata. World Premiere.
Let Let's speak now to Gabriel Ferreira, CTO of Massive Works Studios, who joins us now from Campinas near São Paulo in the southeast of Brazil. So, Gabriel, what is Dolmen about?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to participate. Well, so let me tell a little bit about what Dolmen is. Dolmen is that kind of a game where the hero needs to save everyone from an alien threat. Fighting with all kinds of monsters and struggling to keep going forward. Yeah, that's the kind of game that Dolmen is not about. In this game, you actually save the drillers, which is the alien species that live on that planet, but you're going there to help a company save its investment. So you're not really the nice guy that's trying to save everyone. It's just a job. But we hope that the players consider the humanity, the greed, the war, and the spares and the challenges that come
No i jak tam? Wam się podoba show?
That job. Taking all that part, and yes, Dolmen is also about fighting.
Ale sam pomysł, znaczy ogólnie właśnie to Koch Media widać, że się mocno rozrasta. Jest pomysł stworzenia takiej marki, takich jakościowych gier, że tak powiem. Tylko chyba za wcześnie wydaje mi się to ogłosili. Albo mogli ogłosić markę i dać listę gier, które są tworzone, ale ten show to był chyba zbędny.
What's the thinking behind the name? Why did you go for Dolmen?
So there was many things that came to our mind when describing the name of the game. Dolmen, which means a single chamber tomb, a megalithic tomb. We thought it would be a good word to describe this stone, this crystal that we
Ale
have
dobra,
that
tak
is related
krytykuje, a
to
pewnie w jakiś sposób
In many ways, everyone that deals with
przez
this
chwilę
crystal in the
światło
game
jest
is
na
close to
nich,
being
światło
bringing
efektorów.
problems to
Jakieś
everyone
newsy z
that
tego
is
się
around.
pojawią na Kotaku i
And
innych
we wanted
stronkach,
this to be the main piece.
więc pewnie głównie o to chodzi.
Awesome. And now I know that people may or may not have heard of Dolmen before, so it is already
Szczerze mówiąc,
out
właśnie
there in
nawet
the
mi to
world. But how
przez
long
chwilę
has it
dokładnie o tym
taken
pomyślałem,
to
że
get to this
kiedy w
point?
końcu włączę
Oh,
Ratcheta z
it's been a
powrotem.
long journey since
Ale
the
dobra,
beginning
nie
of the
obejrzyjmy do końca,
project.
może potem pogram.
We started at late 2016, so it's been almost 5 years now, and probably just a bit more till it come out. But we and about our journey, if it wasn't the support that we had since the beginning, either our community, the Kickstarters, and you guys, I believe we would not be here right now.
Lovely. How have you been inspired by other games? You mentioned like the Souls-like obviously inspires it. You know, are there other games that inspire you? And also, what games?
Nie słyszałem już dawno żadnym
First of all,
Souls-like'u.
regarding inspirations, a lot of games came to us when we were producing the game and when we were first thinking of it. Obviously, we are really passionate and we really love Souls-like games. So Bloodborne, Dark Souls, those games were our main inspirations. But we drew inspirations from all different kind of sources. So we had inspirations in Dead Space, in Mass Effect.
O, Dead Space, to jest dobra inspiracja.
And also not only inspirations in other games, but also inspirations.
A właśnie widziałem jakąś plotkę, że niby chcą zrobić właśnie trylogię Dead Space'a, w sensie reedycję, tak jak zrobili z Mass Effectem, że już jest ponoć prawie gotowa i że niedługo pokażą, to kupię. No. Mogliby trójkę przerobić i wyciąć z niej mikropłatności, te wszystkie elementy z tym zbieraniem surowców i wysyłaniem robocika.
Everyone of our team is passionate about the project because they love doing what they do, which is a hardcore game.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well when you get hands on Dolmen, all these inspirations that have come in. So the game is set in a sci-fi universe. Is there any specific reason you decided to go down that route? Was there any other routes that you considered at first?
Yeah. The humans are afraid of what they don't know.
Wiadomo,
and the universe has infinite possibilities. there is always something unknown that we can explore in space. So that sci-fi setting really
no pewnie tak jak w Mass Effectie, tam gdzie ma to sens, gdzie coś można faktycznie usprawnić, to zmienią, ale wiadomo, że nie będą gry przyrządowane.
So we wanted to use the sci-fi as a tool to reach this goal, to present the player
ale w sumie mi najbardziej
a
tylko
world of unknown
doskwiera
that he can
trójka
fear
i te
and he
elementy
can enjoy it.
właśnie zbieractwa.
No, absolutely. And while we're kind of on the point of humans and Earth, you guys are based in Brazil, which is awesome. Are there any specific challenges that you
trójka
faced
zbiera sporo
during
hejtu i w
development
sumie
because of
zasłużenie,
that,
ale mi się
or just
dużo
in
rzeczy w tej
general?
grze podobało i ogólnie jako
Yeah,
całość
there
w
were a
sumie
lot of challenges that
dobrze
we
się
faced
bawiłem.
along this 5-year journey.
Bardzo podobał mi się ten moment, jak
We obviously had to adapt our workflow in this
przemieszczamy się po
years,
różnych
late
wrakach,
years.
tam okrętów i tak dalej. Jest taki mini sandbox, to było bardzo fajnie zrobione.
Was a really challenge for us, but it was something that we could adapt well, especially because even that we're based in Brazil, we're not only based in a
A
single
ja jakoś w
location
sumie
in
nigdy
Brazil.
nie zwracałem
We have
uwagi aż
people,
takiej na
spread
story. W
across the
sensie
country.
do tego, co
So
chcieli
it
zrobić
was,
gameplayowo, dla mnie
easy
story
enough
było
to
okej.
overcome that challenge. But there were several challenges.
Bo jakoś właśnie jak myślę o tej grze, to nigdy nie myślę
getting
o story,
development kits
o postaciach,
finding,
tylko właśnie o tym feelingu po
finding,
prostu bardzo zbliżonym
people
do
that are really
obcego,
capable of helping us
o
to
tym
deliver
chodzeniu po
this
tym
amazing game.
głośnym,
And that's
hałasującym
what we,
wraku, znaczy może nie wraku,
gathered,
stacji
and
kosmicznej,
that's
ale po tej
something that
opuszczonej
our
stacji
company,
kosmicznej, o tych potworach.
appreciates the
To w sumie w
most
tej grze
and
najbardziej
really
lubię i
gives
jakoś
value.
nigdy nie
It is
kojarzę
the
ze
people
story,
that
więc
we
może dlatego
work
mi nie
with.
przeszkadza.
They were really incredible people and they were really rare over here.
Absolutely, that's really cool. Kind of on that theme of development and challenges, given how development and technology often dictates how a game evolves throughout its development, how kind of close are you to the original concept that you guys came
No ja
up
ostatnio grałem w Dead Space'a 1 i 2 we wstecznej i działa to bardzo spoko. Moim zdaniem warto, aczkolwiek jeżeli faktycznie ma być jakiś remake, remaster, no to chyba wtedy warto na niego poczekać.
A few friends that get together and they brainstormed it for months, the game. So it diverged in two senses. And one of them, when we first started the game was
Boże, trochę mi gdzieś teraz się przykro zrobiło. Źle się tu poczułem, że tak naprawdę w ogóle nie słucham, co on tutaj mówi, mimo że kurde, no pewnie się zajebiście jara, że dostał taką okazję. Nie dość, że może przedstawić grę może nie milionom ludzi, ale tysiącom. To jeszcze właśnie dostali kasę od Koch Media, no i robią pewnie swój projekt z życia, ale tutaj gadamy o Dead Space.
Evolved a lot, especially now that we have more tools at our disposal. So on the tech side, it advanced way better than we imagined. Back 2016 we didn't have all the
no ja
resources
nigdy nie
that we
dostrzegłem
have
do tego
now.
momentu,
So,
że
of course we made some
po prostu
sacrifices here, there,
w ogóle nie
in order
angażowałem
to,
się w
achieve
gameplay.
our goal. But we're never happy with satisfied.
Nigdy właśnie do takiego punktu grając Dead Space'a nie doszedłem, więc może dlatego... No fabuła nie jest najlepsza w tej grze, ale właśnie zupełnie mi to nie przeszkadzało. Dla mnie to nie było w ogóle istotny element tej gry. Ale no rozumiem, że pewnie nie każdy tak ma. I jednak pewnie część graczy, tak jak na przykład ty, chciałoby coś więcej wyciągnąć z samej historii. Więc no cóż, zobaczymy, co zrobią twórcy Dead Space'a z tą nową grą w świecie PUBG, ale wydaje mi się, że to ostatnie nie będzie raczej istotne. Nie wiem, po co jest w świecie PUBG, ale podobno jest.
Even that's a first game of our company, so we decided to go full into that challenge. We faced a lot of challenges, as I mentioned previously, but I believe the hardest part of the game was finding the correct professionals and focusing on what we were doing, and keeping yourself focused for 5 years on a single game is something that is challenging for everyone, especially right now. So it was a difficult decision, but we wanted to make that. Regarding programming and as a programmer, there's a lot of that I could keep talking about what is the harder. Multiplayer is always challenging, but finding that balancing fit, so the game that is not unfair, but is hard. So we wanted to aim hardcore players.
No tak, Final Fantasy 10-2 na początek to nie jest dobry wybór, to już lepiej najpierw 10 przejść, bo raz, że no wiem, że pewnie, że nie pasuje ci ten absurdalny klimat,
I won't say that it was easy.
A dwa, że pewnie zupełnie nie wiesz, o co chodzi, bo ta gra naprawdę mocno polega na tym, że widziało się całe Final Fantasy X.
Even now that we are remote, we keep getting up every day and making a meeting and showcasing what we are doing and working alongside each one of us.
Ale ja akurat Final Fantasy X bardzo lubię, właśnie przez to, że jest takie odpałowe. Nie, żeby 10 była jakoś super poważna, ale jednak właśnie, nie wiem, jakoś mnie to kupiło. I mechanika zmiany klas poprzez zmianę strojów jest super.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like everyone's missing that event feeling, right? When you actually get to see people on the games and you're like, oh wow, everyone's loving our games. I think it's something that everyone is missing, definitely. Speaking of kind of
część rzeczy na pewno lepszej byś przyjął, gdybyś nagrał. Właśnie dlaczego nie zacząłeś Final Fantasy X, tylko 10-2? No bez sensu.
Yeah, we did that.
I believe that the universe that we created is amazing. It has a lot of background from it.
Jest super.
So for example,
jeden z moich ulubionych
we even made some comics for it that we prepared. We have a lot of story, some crazy cinematics. So we're really proud of the universe that we created, this game that we made, and achieving what we did is what makes us feel proud. And now that we have partnered.
Kurde, ale naprawdę jest tak, że teraz nagle wszyscy. Jeszcze nie wchodziłem na Twittera, ale sądzę, że taka jest pewnie ogólny konsensus, że kurde, narzekaliśmy wczoraj na same Game Fest. Zupełnie niepotrzebnie, zwracamy honor do dev.
Cool. Awesome. Speaking of partnership with us, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch on their brand new label?
That's really a amazing feeling for us. Koch really helped us and takes care of the operation that we couldn't make it for ourselves. They have an amazing team of QA localization, so we can reach different countries and players everywhere. We have a great producer that worked with us, helping us reach our goals and
tak, raczej przyjęcie nie jest zbyt ciepłe, aczkolwiek nie widzę, żeby ktoś wpisał.
Without Koch opened the doors for us on that sense. And being part of this new label is a great opportunity for us. And also to other game developers and expand the game community. And and to meet you as well. We really thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We are so happy to have you guys on board. And more importantly, I am so excited to actually let people play this game at some point under this new label. So thank you so much for your time, Gabriel. It's been awesome talking to you.
Ja rozumiem, że fajnie jest zaistnieć na E3, ale kurde, jak już się robi coś na E3...
Thank you for your time and see you later.
Thank you. See you.
To lepiej jest mieć coś do pokazania dla takich zwykłych ludzi.
King's Bounty 2. We have a first look at the gameplay trailer, and then Opal got a chance to sit down and talk with CEO Nikolai Baryshnikov.
The balance is off.
No boy, no naprawdę. Znaczy, no nie spodziewałem się wiele, ale spodziewałem się więcej.
Dances on the knife's edge of fate. King Claudius, my father, cannot lead, and his absence has set the realm in motion. Something is coming. Now the burden of the crown falls onto me. Nostria was flourishing, but there is unrest.
It used to be.
No, raczej nikt nie jest
My wife and I had a nice life then.
Najmniej pewnie są zachwyceni ludzie, którzy sobie myślą, kurde, mogłem grać Ratcheta.
They all threaten this land asunder, but we must unite, for distorted terrors are advancing.
A właśnie, bo jest taki typ też na Twitterze,
Rumors tell of a
który
false
jest tam właśnie za PR,
putting
odpowiada
our
tego Koch
hope in
Media
something
Polska.
that does not exist. A seer foretells that our Savior is among us. People of Nostria, you laid faith in my father, do so to me. We must look towards the horizon, fight back the darkness, and preserve the light of our land. For Nostria!
Hello there, guys.
Tak jest,
Thanks
trochę
for joining
ściszam.
me, and I am joined by Nikolai Barinshtakov from 1C Entertainment, who is CEO and creator of King's Bounty 2. So King's Bounty has been years in development and has a 30-year pedigree.
Mam nadzieję, że teraz będzie lepiej. Widzę, że teraz nie wchodzi na żółty stream, więc powinno być lepiej.
Was a grandfather of games like of series like Heroes of Might and Magic. So it created these turn-based gameplay when you have a hex-based battlefield and the troops are moving in turns. You know, like chess pieces on the board. So I think that's the key. The cornerstone of
Dobra, jak było jeszcze za głośno, to
absolutely, and kind of speaking about that, and I know as you mentioned, the first King's Bounties was 1990, and then you had the King's Bounty that you guys created in
Witam, Snowek. Mogę ci naprawdę szczerze powiedzieć, nic ci nie minęło, ale to tak na serio, po prostu nic.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the core aspect of the game with tactical battles.
Bo nic tu nie pokazali.
In previous games, the battlefield was always a flat surface. So now we're bringing the battlefield into 3D. So we will have, line of sights, hills. Like simple example, if your archers are located on the hill, they will do like extra damage for the high ground, etc. So moving the battlefield to 3D is a huge step forward. And then the whole role-playing part, the exploration part, we decided to move more towards games like, Fable or Mass Effect, kind of, epic, big...
Grajcie w Final Fantasy 10.2, ale najpierw przejdźcie Final Fantasy 10. Bo tak nie można. Nic nie będziecie wiedzieć. Chociaż powiem szczerze, niektóre rzeczy, jak chociażby sam początek, też mogą być takim what the fuck momentem nawet dla ludzi, którzy przeszli całe Final Fantasy 10. Bo nigdzie w Final Fantasy 10 w końcówce nie było mowy o tym, że Yuna zostaje pop piosenkarką.
Will this King's Bounty 2 follow the other stories of the games, or will it be a standalone title?
No, the game will not.
Ale ja lubię Final Fantasy 10.2, przepraszam.
But even the previous King's Bounties, they all sort of like disconnected. There was like the main protagonist, there are a bunch of like, evil guys. There's like a small quest.
Jakby sobie tak w okienko odpalić Ratcheta.
The previous King's Bounty, it was not like an epic RPG adventure, so the game was more about just battling random monsters on the map.
Złe. Wy byście oglądali dalej tego streama, ja bym grał Ratcheta.
King's Bounty 2 is really, a epic adventure. We had spent like dozens of hours solving puzzles, working with different factions, making decisions that change the character and the world. So we're really moving much more towards, an epic RPG. However, this is a rare combination where our game, King's Bounty, is not an action RPG. It's not a Witcher game where you have to, quickly press buttons on the joysticks and battle enemies in the field.
Ludzie się
It's an
śmieją
interesting crossbreed of a high
generalnie
fantasy
z
role-playing game.
tego, że ta babka jest na takim tle, na takiej szarej wykładzinie.
It's not like quote unquote was never done on console, but this is fairly unique combination.
I że to jest najważniejszy element tego eventu. A wrażenie z Ratcheta bardzo pozytywnie. Już tutaj w sumie 2 razy mówiłem, że początek robi ogromne wrażenie przede wszystkim tym, jak dobrze wygląda ta gra, jak dobrze w ruchu wygląda, tak na żywo i no jak świetny ma feeling, że właśnie to jest taki Ratchet taki dopieszczony, że widać, że ruszyli każdy element i go tam wytweakowali, zarówno feeling strzelania, poruszania się, skakania i tak dalej. Wszystko jest takie wymuskane, ale no jestem ciekaw po prostu, czy dalej jeszcze gra będzie jakoś zaskakiwać.
What was the design philosophy around that? Why did you decide to go with that instead?
That's an interesting question. We've been debating on the design approach. And again, as I said, we spent a lot of time.
Właśnie słyszałem dźwięk odłączonego i podłączonego urządzenia USB i się zastanawiam, czy to u nich, czy u mnie. I co się odłączyło, jeżeli to u mnie, ale wszystko nie działa. Mikrofon jest.
We are now trying to play in different league. We're trying to make a much bigger title, big game, an epic adventure. We've been, astonished by modern fantasy titles both in Hollywood and.
No, ja z osoby, która była nastawiona, że w sumie wygląda ładnie i dobre oceny zbiera, więc sprawdzę, bo lubię Ratcheta, ale byłem rozczarowany tym, że wyszło na to, że to jest po prostu tylko kolejny Ratchet, tyle że na PS5 ładniejszy. No to z takiego podejścia nagle mam podejście bardzo pozytywne po tych pierwszych 30 minutach gry, więc...
So that was the main philosophy. Plus, game development evolves, and I don't think that it's a good idea to take a game of 2008 and just make a replica with slightly enhanced graphics in 2020.
Kurde, jakoś właśnie nie mam weny, żeby wrócić do Demon Soulsów. Nie chwyciły mnie, szczerze mówiąc.
From somebody coming to the store or buying the game digitally or online. Okay, this is like a $49.59 game.
Może zostawię sobie to na jakiś czas zimowy, na tak zwane długie zimowe wieczory. Jak znowu będzie posłucha.
Ways that you can play the game, basically, from third-person RPG elements to this unique fighting system, this kind of chess-like fighting system.
Dobra, patrzę jeszcze raz na Twittera, co tam...
Why did you choose, with the evolution of game design and how people play games, why did you choose to stick to these hybrid game mechanics? Do you think that this is kind of what makes King's Bounty?
Absolutely. I think you got it spot on, so I don't even need to answer. King's Bounty is again, is a grandfather of turn-based
Widzę, że to E3 też tak buduje właśnie sobie napięcie, w sensie, że taki średni początek w postaci Summerfest, teraz pikowanie w dół i miejmy nadzieję jutro przy Ubisoftie znowu będzie podwyższony poziom. Nie no, czat mi wystarcza, ale patrzę, żeby wam przekazać, co tam się dzieje na Twitterze. Może ktoś coś śmiesznego napisał.
Gamers who like RPG with shooting elements, games like Cyberpunk, this King's Bounty is probably not for them. I'm sorry, it's a different game.
Yeah, and in terms of, we've mentioned kind of this new 3D world that you're creating when it comes to the fighting style, and then these RPG mechanics and making this world feel more alive and more exciting. What was actually the hardest part of you making the game? What took the longest time? What kind of caused you the most headaches?
Kurde, ale nie no. Musi być w tym szaleństwie jakaś metoda, w sensie ktoś z jakiegoś powodu uznał, że to jest dobry pomysł i jestem ciekaw po prostu z jakiego.
You are not having a headache of porting to different platforms, getting different specifications, TCRs, approvals, so that adds a lot. And then secondly, the production itself,
No właśnie w sumie nawet nie myślałem o tym, co Ubisoft tak naprawdę może pokazać w tym momencie, bo Far Cry'a już w sumie pokazali całkiem sporo. Assassina wiemy, że w najbliższym czasie nowego nie będzie.
Wants to build like a huge map. We want to populate this map with a lot of characters that would just move around.
Mogliby pokazać. No ja bym się zajarał, gdyby pokazali Kingdom Battle 2, ale no to już przestałem na to liczyć w zeszłym roku.
Instead of having like text dialogues, we decided to produce a lot of engine-based cutscenes to push the story, to explain what's going on.
Tak, to prawda, mogą nagle listonizową to wrzucić Skull Bones. Tak, drugi dodatek do Assassina to też jest coś, co mogą pokazać, przynajmniej jakiś trailer, prawda? No i zazwyczaj oni mają taką tradycję, że pokazują na sam koniec zapowiedź jakiejś gry, która ma troszeczkę bardziej odległą premierę, ale to jest coś nowego, albo jakaś kolejna odsłona znanej marki. No tak, Just Dance to na pewno będzie. Musi być.
I'm not sure that all gamers understand how games get to the market. So making a game, writing pieces of code or drawing this amazing sketch of a dragon is only half of the puzzle. So it's like yin yang. You need a lot of support from production people, testing, localization, manufacturing, retail units.
No, mimo wszystko jestem ciekaw, może właśnie dlatego, że nie mam pomysłu, czym tak naprawdę Ubi może zaskoczyć, więc może mnie zaskoczą właśnie, pokazując coś, czego się nie spodziewam, a jest na to duża szansa, bo wiele się nie spodziewam.
With Koch Media, that seemed to be the ideal partner. So we are on the market for many years, and I would say very honestly, I was personally a bit scared if we do it just ourselves, that we might not have the human resources to deliver the information about the game. The game itself, we'll work with all the platform holders as effectively as in a co-production.
Nie mów tak. Po tej konferencji dzisiejszej nam się należy jakieś zaskoczenie fajne.
Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for your time, Nikolai. And I cannot wait for people to get their hands on King's Bounty 2.
Oh, me too. Trust me, me too. After 4 years of development, that's going to be one of the most exciting days for me in 2021.
We have 12.
Internet już przecież jest ta gierka Tom Clancy na komórki, gdzie możesz sobie sama Fishera kupić za jakieś monetki i sobie go wstawić do teamu. To nie wystarczy?
This third-person action-adventure shooter will keep you up at night tossing and turning with its horrific, nightmarish creatures. Think Alice in Wonderland meets Alien, or as one US journalist put it, Tomb Standing. Guys, sit back, relax, grab a pillow,
grab a pillow, kurde.
At Scars Above.
No to jest chyba tagline całej konferencji. Guys, grab a pillow, please. Ej, serio, tam jest literówka, jest napisane World Premiere.
Telemetry check, we're go.
Nie wiem, chyba że w UK się mówi premier, ale nie no, jak wpisałem premier w Google, to mi wyskoczyło tylko premier polski. To źle.
How did I end up here?
No, widać, że to wczesna wersja.
Log entry. The gate has an internal conduction system. The 3 points on the rim seem sensitive. A targeted blast of electricity should cause a reaction.
Taki futurystyczny Tomb Raider.
It's from Hermes. It must have splintered off as it entered the atmosphere.
Znaczy, no powiem szczerze, jak ta gra już będzie skończona, bo widać, że to jest jakaś bardzo wczesna wersja, to by mnie nawet interesowała, no. W sensie, no lubię action adventure, TPP. lubię ten gatunek i lubię też widzieć w nich coś nowości, a nie po prostu kolejnego Uncharteda, więc... O, jest rolowanie, są soulsy, yeah!
What the hell was that? Log entry. The creature has multiple salivary glands in its thoracic region that seem to produce a highly venomous secretion.
No tak. W sumie faktycznie jakbym robił takie bingo mojego streamu, to tak, Uncharted by było. XCOM, turówka.
Looks like Robinson managed to connect the MPU to the pillar. This will help me get through that tissue webbing.
Kurde, jeszcze też nie dość, że mam do zagrania w Ratcheta, to jeszcze też czeka Loki do obejrzenia, pierwszy odcinek. Kurde, ale to na serio konsolsy. Soulsy z karabinami, tego jeszcze nie było. Oh wait, był Remnant.
Who were the architects of this place? Did they build these towering monuments to serve a purpose?
A nie, była jeszcze jakaś taka gra,
która
która próbowała zrobić Soulsy z karabinami, ale tam ta chyba nie została jakoś ciepło przyjęta. Remnant przynajmniej został ciepło przyjęty. Dobra, ale przynajmniej jest gameplay i to już jest o wiele ciekawe. Kurde, ale Nioh chyba już był kilka razy na wyprzedaży w jakiejś ludzkiej cenie. Kurde, w sumie teraz jakby zastanawiam, czy w ogóle jest sens grać w jedynkę, bo dwójka jest jednak o wiele lepsza pod wieloma względami. I tym bardziej jak nie grałeś w jedynkę, to dwójka będzie lepsza, bo nie będziesz miał tego poczucia, że to jest więcej tego samego, a jednocześnie będziesz miał lepszą wersję tego. A story i tak, no, znaczy łączy się, ale generalnie chyba Nioh 2 to jest prequel dziejący się sporo przed jedynką, więc tak naprawdę się nie łączy. Znaczy chyba gra się zaczyna przed jedynką i potem w pewnym momencie się z nią równa. Ale nie musisz sprawdzać jedynki. Jak ci dwójka przypasuje, to fajnie. To jest super. I zagrasz sobie w dobrą grę. A jak ci nie przypasuje, no to przynajmniej będziesz miał poczucie, że zagrałeś w najlepszą wersję, ale i tak uważasz, że jest chujowa. I będziesz mógł hejtować i nagrać materiał hejtujący coś innego. Sounds like a plan.
This gland is secreting the cryogenic fluid that's freezing the water. The cocktail of digestive acids is dissolving local plant life into homogeneous matter. The process seems to be aided by bioelectricity.
W ogóle te potworki to przypominają mi tych zergów ze StarCrafta. Ultraliski one się nazywają? Nie, ultraliski to są te takie na 4 nogach. Nie. Tak, nie pamiętam tych nazw.
That really was something, and last week Opal had a
That
chance
really
to talk
was
to the
something.
developers,
To też może być tagline tej
and ask them what
konferencji.
their game was all about.
Hello there, guys. Joining me now from Novi Sad in Serbia is Ivan Zorkic, game director at Madhead Games, who's going to tell us all about his new project. So, Ivan, what's Scars Above all about?
Hey there. Scars Above, an alien object appears near Earth, and a team of astronauts is sent to explore it, to do a close-range scan. However, for some reason that I don't want to go into now, this results in them in an event which causes them to be transported to an unknown alien planet. So our protagonist, Kate Ward, who is a mission specialist, she's an astrobiologist with a background in engineering. She's one of the members of the team of astronauts, of the team called SCAR team, which is Sentient Contact Assessment and Response. So
Aż czuję się odpowiedzialny
on the ship,
za to, że
doing
tu
the scan,
siedzicie
and she ends up
i to
on this,
oglądamy.
stranded on this alien planet. So one moment she's with her team in the ship, and the other moment she's on this strange planet alone. So she explores, she finds out that her team is also stranded on the planet. She has to find them first. And it seems that some time has passed.
Panie Terminator, no niestety mogę powiedzieć, że raczej nic ciekawego nie było.
The planet is very hostile, so there's a bunch of dangerous creatures, monsters, and everything seems to want to kill her and the rest of her crew. So she needs to find out what's going on, solve this mystery. How did they end up here? What does this planet want from them? And the story unravels, and she actually learns about the place and learns about the mystery behind it. But it's all about being stranded on this kind of scary, but also in a way strangely beautiful world, and facing a lot of nasty creatures and monsters.
Yeah. So it's kind of keeping on that theme of the realm of possibility and whatnot. How much in the game has its roots in the real world, and how much is just plain crazy sci-fi?
Well, it's mostly sci-fi, but the themes come from the real world. So they're inspired by the real world. I think the best stories come from the real world, even if they're about, as I said, dragons or fairy tales, and of course spaceships and space exploration. There's always this component. So on one level, Scars Above is about reason versus terror.
Już okej, jak
and
chcieli
this
zrobić
is a very important topic to me, and that's a very real world topic for me.
taki,
in our world, a lot of
takim
bad
formacie
things come out
ten
of
show,
fear.
że po prostu tylko ludzie mówią o grach,
This
które
fear,
robią.
gives birth to some
To można było zrobić lepiej, chociażby
dark
skracając
actions, which lead to more
to
bad
sporo
things
i
and more
zadawać
fear
tylko
and more
naprawdę
bad
takie
things.
najbardziej
And, in a way, Scars
esencjonalne
Above is
pytania.
for me, a metaphor for reason
To też było
standing
przynajmniej
up
w
against
jakiś sposób
terror.
wartościowe, że i taka gra powstaje, jest o tym i o tym, next. A tutaj bardzo dużo, co z jednej strony pewnie jest fajne dla niektórych, którzy lubią takie szczegóły,
Opening
ale
up the possibility that this can actually happen makes sci-fi what it is. Is there any other important reason to you to keep, that sense of realism still there in the game?
So there is yes, there is a reason to keep realism, but I think the better word is to make it believable. So if you go for absolute realism, you're kind of limited on what you can tell, the story you can tell. It kind of is there is fiction element to the
nie, no dobra,
sci-fi,
to jest w sumie wyzwanie.
But we want to make it believable,
Na
and
swój
the
sposób,
reason why
czyli
this is
wytrzymamy do
important is
końca.
because I would like to create this what if vibe. I would like it if people actually ask themselves, what if this really happened? What would I do if I were suddenly stranded somewhere on this strange, far away from home world, surrounded with monsters and terrors. Like, if you make this believable, people might actually think more about it. So we don't want to go like super realistic, but we do want to make it believable, so that because immersion is really important, so that people get immersed in this world and start thinking like, what would I do if I was in this situation?
Czy cokolwiek pokazali? Na to pytanie mogę odpowiedzieć, że tak, cokolwiek pokazali, bo było jakieś trailery nawet krótkie, był jeden gameplay przed chwilą.
Absolutely. And then you mentioned
Więc
the lead
tak, coś
protagonist,
pokazali.
Kate Ward. You told about her
A właśnie, co z tymi remasterami Ninja Gaiden? Znaczy wiem, że z PC-tową wersją jest jakiś problem, ale konsolowe chyba są okej, czy nie? Nie wiem w sumie. Nie śledziłem, bo robię streamy ze 3 i gram w Ratchetę. A szkoda, bo generalnie chciałem sobie te remastery kupić, więc jeżeli wersje konsolowe też są zwalone, to będzie mi smutno.
But one thing she is not, and that's a warrior, like a trained warrior. She's not a soldier, so she's not like a space commando or anything. And and she does end up in a situation where like she needs to fight for her life.
Potem poszukam, co tam się zadziało, chyba że masz jakieś info, z czym jest tak naprawdę problem. Na co ludzie narzekają. Crasze, że nie wiem, słabo działa.
And she's very brave and tough, but like, she's under tremendous stress in our game, and we want to show how vulnerable she is, how scared she is, how distressed, because true courage doesn't come out of lack of fear, it comes in face of fear. So we do want to show this fear, and it's actually like this. The fact that she's overcoming this, like fighting her emotions,
no na Open Critic też jest tak, 74 średnia i 61% krytyków poleca.
She fights her emotions, she's susceptible to panic, which
IGN Italy dał 8 na 10.
I'm all out of gum, I'm kicking ass and
natomiast IGN Spain już dał 6,5.
That's not her. She is like, her heart pounds, her voice breaks, she trembles. But then, and that's what I really like when her voice breaks, when she's like really scared, but she like clenches her fist.
Pytanie właśnie, czy to są oceny za te gry, czy za jakość remasteru.
She does it using her mind, and using science and using her cunning to, craft these weapons and gadgets and survive against the odds.
Awesome. So you mentioned,
no to tak, to z PC-tową wiem, że jest beznadziejne. Że właśnie po pierwsze nie ma obsługi myszy i klawiatury, a po drugie, że właśnie żeby zmienić rozdzielczość w grze, to trzeba dodać ten argument do linii komend na Steamie. Tam wchodzi się we właściwości gry i wpisuje się w tym polu i można tylko włączyć albo 1080p, albo 4K. Ale czyli w końcu wszystkie są złe, czy tylko PC-towa jest zła? Bo tak jak patrzę na recenzję, to chyba...
This alien object appears, we send scientists and explorers trying to figure what's going on. So Kate is joined by her close friend Tamara, who is and also like a scientist and an astronaut, and by Mike, a little bit younger member of the team, but who is also like a communications expert, and like they're all scientists working together to solve this mystery. But Kate does get separated from them, and part of the game is actually uncovering the
ciekawe, że na PC ta gra, te remastery są sporo tańsze z tego co widziałem, bo na konsoli są normalny full price z zeszłej generacji, czy tam 220 zł, więc to mnie w sumie powstrzymało, bo zagrałem sobie w te gry, ale czuję, że akurat remastery to szybko spadną w scenie.
I'm actually gonna give you
a właśnie, no mam Ratcheta.
I'm most proud of the team. So like making a game is a huge effort and it requires a lot of hard work.
Kurde, właśnie to, co bym chciał zobaczyć teraz na tej konferencji, jako ostatnią rozmowę, żeby pojawił się typ, który dał na to zielone światło i powiedział, że robimy takie coś i po prostu wyjaśnił, dlaczego są mu przyświecało. Jaki to chciał osiągnąć.
In the far future, I may actually forget some of the details during the development, but I will always remember the people I worked with.
That's awesome. And then last question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch and being on their brand new publishing label?
There's a bunch of benefits, but like, you know, having access to certain resources, to experience. This is a game, you know, with many firsts for us. So having someone to just like, you know, share thoughts and share the experience is really valuable. But, you know, on a personal level, I have to say this, and I'm being perfectly honest, like the biggest benefit for me was meeting
naprawdę,
a
teraz
bunch
jak
of
już
great
tyle
people
obejrzałem
on your
tego,
side.
to
And I truly
teraz
mean this.
po prostu chcę doczekać do
It's a
końca.
continuing pleasure to work with you. Not just,
Nie no, nawet ja bym nie bił brawo,
about
gdyby
the
się
game
okazało,
or
że
how
to
we can
Kojima
make it better,
wymyślił.
but you know, just like we talk a lot,
Chyba, że
as
by
you
się
know,
okazało,
like
że ten
we
cały
chat about
event
various things.
to jest
Just
trailer
meeting,
jego
you
nowej
guys,
gry.
like, it's a tremendous boost to what we're doing. And you know, I don't want to downplay like the obvious benefits, because there's a lot of them, like their infrastructure, the resources.
I że ta gra wyglądałaby, że w jakiś sposób to wszystko łączy i coś z tego robi, ale
that's really awesome.
Absolutely, and it's a pleasure to hang out with you as well, Ivan. And thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to let people play.
Że może na przykład gralibyśmy tą panią i zadanie gracza byłoby łączenie się z różnymi deweloperami i przeprowadzenie z nimi wywiadów, tak, żeby ludzi
I'm
zanudzić.
looking forward to people playing the game. We're really excited about it, and thank you for this talk. Yeah.
And now for something completely different. When Brian Fargo himself, the granddaddy of top-down isometric RPGs, says he is excited about a game, that's gotta mean Prime Matter is getting something right. Encased is an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG scheduled for
Brian
release
Fargo,
this
a
autumn.
czy Brian Fargo nie
And this new
został
trailer, which
skancelowany,
we're
czy się
unveiling
pomyliło z
today,
kimś
should
innym?
give you a pretty good flavor of what the game is all about.
It's 1976, and the future has arrived. But here's the skinny. We at Cronus need you. Cronus was formed after a dome-like structure was discovered 5 years ago. Was it from our ancient past? Was it made by aliens? Does it run on perfectly
Muszę
harmless
wiedzieć, czy
nuclear
Brian
power?
Fargo nie został skancelowany, bo nie wiem, czy mogę
And
się nie
humanity is waiting for you to help unlock its secrets. Descend into the
Brian
dome itself
Fargo
and join one of our
Controversy.
incredible research teams. The only question is, which wing of Cronus is the best fit for you? If you like taking orders, cracking heads, ultra-violence, and guns, lots of guns, then the Black Wing is for you. Can you build and repair incredible technology, but not expect any credit for it? You sound like an engineer to us. Welcome to the Blue Wing. Are you a doctor,
Dobra, to chyba nie
scientist,
był Brian
mathematician,
Fargo. To
or
ten
any
typek,
other
co
type
niby
of
pisał
brainiac?
coś tam do Dying
We've
Light.
got you covered in the White Wing.
Kurde, to nie był
You
Chris
like taking
Avalon.
credit for the hard work of others, but never do anything yourself? Those forms won't fill themselves. That's management, mister. And the Silver Wing awaits. Are you a criminal, prisoner, or have no
Tak, to
discernible
Chris
skills
Avalon. Dobra, czyli tą
whatsoever?
grą można
Then
się...
you're coming to the Orange Wing, like it or not. Are you ready for adventure? Are you ready to make the change with us? Are you ready to love it so much that you'll never want to leave?
No ale to generalnie wygląda jak
Then
izometryczny
join Cronus
Outer
and
Worlds.
take the second giant leap for mankind under the dome.
A, no już widzę, że napisałeś. Ale
That's
miałem
not
akurat
all. Hope
zasłonięte
you'll got to sit
okienko
down with the
czatem
creative
swoją
brains
przeglądarką,
behind
więc nie widziałem.
Encased. Check it out.
Ale sam też
Let's
do
go to
tego
St.
dotarłem.
Petersburg in Russia and speak to Vyacheslav Kosahin, creative director of Dark Crystal Games and the brains behind their upcoming isometric RPG Encased. So, Slava, what is Encased?
So Encased is an old-school RPG in the sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting, basically.
Awesome. So the name Encased is kind of, you know, it's a word and it has various meanings. What's the thinking behind the name?
The thinking behind the name comes from the
Ciekawe, czy to będzie dłuższe
setting
niż
of the
wczorajszy
game,
event.
from one main entity of it, which is the dome. The game takes place in the
Ej,
anomalous
skąd, że jest niekompetentny? Może jest dobry w swojej robocie, tylko po prostu nie jest przyzwyczajony do dawania wywiadów, do udzielania wywiadów.
Desert on the Earth and on our planet. And well, basically people who get in there, various scientists, technicians, soldiers and adventurers, they can't get back.
No ja tego Dark Crystala nawet nie odpalałem.
So those guys who explore
no widziałem, że to nie
the dome, they are encased in there, which
to turówka,
I
więc
think
to naprawdę
makes some sense in this regard.
Absolutely. Yes. So I know that you guys have been developing this game for kind of a long time now. How long has it actually taken to get to the point where you are now?
So we are developing the game for 3.5 years now. We started late in 2017 with some pre-production, but obviously we have thoughts about a project like this for years and years before that, before those crystallized in something, something that really exists. So it takes 10 years of thinking behind this game, this project, and 3.5 years of actual production time to this point.
So considering how long it takes, how do you guys keep yourself so motivated just on one particular title?
Well, we can't say we have any problems with motivation on our own, because for most, if not everyone on the team, this is the dream project that comes to life. So that's fine in this regard. The motivation is always high, but also we are in the early access, and we're really open with the community from the very early stages of the project. And because of this openness and talks with the community, and we have had a crowdfunding, and now we are in the early access, we have this constant feedback on the project, both positive and sometimes negative, which obviously keeps us motivated. If we would be on our own for those 3.5
I otworzyłem
years
Steama i w okienku na Steamie mi się pojawił ten sam stream, w sensie ten koleś, dokładnie to samo, i to nawet jest
decline a little bit, but with those constant talks with the community, shared feedback, we're all good.
Awesome. And then kind of bringing it back to the game, given how development and technology often
jak mi się podobał rewatch Batman v Superman, sam rewatch mi się podobał. Ale tak jak w sumie pisałem na Twitterze, że po prostu ten film dostarcza mi fanu może nie do końca tym, czym miał dostarczać, pewnie jak go twórcy tam tworzyli. Ale właśnie te wszystkie artystyczne wybory i głupotki mnie jakoś niezmiernie cieszą.
Which is inspired by many golden classics of late 90s and early 2000s, and in that regard it all those ideas survived through the process, which is really
przyznać, że dobrze się bawiłem, w sensie nie nudziłem się ani nic.
Most of the mechanics, abilities, perks and all those little things which these RPGs are built from, we managed to put it in there too, but obviously because technology changed and even time passes, some less important things, I'd say, like maybe graphics or maybe art style beats or maybe some topics and themes, we explore those transformed and changed during the process, because making games and RPGs particularly, it's an iterative process and takes many iterations to figure out what is the heart, what is the idea you want to bring to the players. So those transformed and crystallized during this long development.
Ale naprawdę szanuję i dziękuję wam, że w sumie cały czas ktoś jednak siedzi, w sensie spodziewałem się, że pewnie już po pierwszych 20-30 minutach większość z was sobie pójdzie. Ale dzięki temu mi też jest raźniej.
Exploring this anomalous zone, the dome. The player starts as an employee
a może na koniec właśnie będzie jakaś super bomba. To jeszcze może uratować tą koncepcję. Znaczy może nie uratować, ale przynajmniej sprawić, że nie będzie kompletną stratą czasu.
Departments which are called wings. A player can start in, which affects the game a lot and the story of the game. This is the black wing, which are the security and police services. There are white wing, which are scientists and medics. There is the silver wing, which are the management and
przecież ta gra istnieje, w sensie jest w early accessie, to mogliby pokazywać jakieś przebitki z gameplayu w sumie. Tutaj już naprawdę nie rozumiem, w czym problem.
Special orange wing, which contains ex-convicts, which were freed to go to the dome to do various manual labor.
So you've mentioned that the game is set in the early 70s. Not many games have been set in that time period. What prompted you to pick that specific time period?
Tych deweloperów, którzy tutaj prezentują te swoje gry.
Is the perfect time for
a raczej
like our game, for what we are doing.
Bo generalnie wydaje mi się, że tak wygląda, jak ja w pracy ludziom opowiadam o Jakuzie i czemu jest fajnie, trzeba zagrać, to przypuszczam, że oni się czują tak jak ja teraz, jak oglądam tą.
On the planet. First satellites and first people in space, it's all happened in late 50s and early 60s, right? And 70s is the last spot on the timeline when there is some, when satellites do not have this complete web surrounding the Earth and the planet, and there are some blind spots where such an amazing and dangerous place like Dome can be hidden. And from that place, from that time, the story takes its alternative path.
Kurde, wydaje mi się, że nawet już PC Gaming Show robi to lepiej, bo w PC Gaming Show też są takie, że zapraszają tych devów tam i gadają z nimi trochę dłużej, ale zazwyczaj, wiesz, najpierw widzimy trailer, czasami są jakieś przebitki gameplayu i też te pytania wydaje mi się są takie bardziej w punkt, że pytają o to, co nas interesuje.
Actually happen in the 70s compared to what happens in the game. I guess it's seen as you said.
A tutaj jest taki overkill mocny, jeżeli chodzi o długość tych wywiadów i szczegółowość.
The main topic would be obviously that instead of continuing the Cold War, the West and the East, if we can call those, they instead start to explore the ideas of like internationalism and exploring the Dome together and forming that super corporation Cronus, which is actually the only foundation that explores the Dome,
te wywiady to byłyby dobre właśnie, żeby umieścić je na stronie gry. Jak ktoś jest zainteresowany konkretnym tytułem, to właśnie może zrobić taki deep dive i sobie się dowiedzieć więcej.
The rest of the world. And yeah, those ideas are quite different from what happened in the real world, I guess.
And kind of bringing it back to the real world almost. Obviously, you guys are based in Russia, and life in the 70s was very different than life was in the West. How much of that do you think translates to an international audience once we get out there, and how much do you think people won't understand because they just, no one kind of really lived over there, or no one really knew what was happening over there?
Well, as I said, I think the game pursues the ideas of internationalism when very different parties across the world could put their own struggles, political and other struggles aside to humanity become something bigger when it's combined with everyone is united together to ascend to be something more and to explore the Dome, its dangers and its discoveries, basically.
Absolutely. Now bringing it kind of back to you guys and the developers again. You mentioned that you were inspired by other games. What games have really truly inspired it? Not just games, but media, and also what do you and the team like as well when it comes to video games?
Well, we are here all the hardcore RPG fans, so it's not secret why we
trzeba utrzymywać ten balans między właśnie
to develop. And it's not a secret that the game is it's in a very hard way was inspired by the Fallout series, well, and the other
nie chcę tak naprawdę właśnie tego do
RPG
końca hejtować,
games
bo
of
jednej
late
strony to jest
90s
fajnie,
and
że
early
pokazują
2000s
jakiegoś
and some
tam
modern
może nie
ones too,
szeregowego
actually.
pracownika, ale że
So
pokazują
speaking
kogoś
about
z teamu,
development, what was
niekoniecznie
the
jakiegoś
hardest
CEO,
part of making the game for you
i ma
guys?
szansę coś
I
powiedzieć o
think
grze.
the easier question would be what was the easy part.
To
I
jest
can't really come with
Moja
much
relacja z
things
tym
which
show
were
jest
easy. It's all it's an everyday struggle in a way. It's a marathon, but it's a happy marathon, and it's a happy everyday struggle basically for us.
Absolutely. And then moving it into that more positive thing, the happy marathon, what are you most proud of when it comes to Encast?
I'm obviously proud of both the team and the project itself, because both us here in the team and our community, we often forget that 3.5 years ago there was nothing, there was emptiness, nothing existed. And here now, 3.5 years later, both with the team effort and the feedback which we get from the community, there is this great universe, a curious world which is almost ready to be explored and to be adventured inside, basically.
And then moving on to the last question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch Media and being on their new label?
So we think that signing with the partner as Koch Media is really great.
Pytanie, o czym jest gra, o jakiś jeden szczegół. I trzecie pytanie, jak to jest pracować z Koch Media, jak bardzo wam pomogli, bo rozumiem, że o to głównie chodzi, żeby pokazać w dobrym świetle. I koniec, i następna gra.
To work on the project and polish it so it would be in the perfect state, while our players will enjoy.
Nie wiem, czy jest, znaczy no nie mogę jeszcze porównać, bo nie widziałem jeszcze Godzilla versus Kong. Mimo, że nawet miałem chyba wykupione przez chwilę tego HBO Max Open. Ale kurde, jakoś właśnie zupełnie nie chcę mi się tego filmu oglądać.
From an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG to our next title, which is a fresh take on the action-adventure genre. This team
action adventure, lubię action adventure. Ciekawe tego, czy coś pokażą.
This title, and has the incredible talent Aldous Hamilton as their lead protagonist. I got to sit down with the guys and ask them, what is this game all about?
So Echoes of the End is a cinematic, narrative-driven action-adventure game about Rin, a person who has trained all her life to be a warrior in service to a throne, and is now searching and finding her own identity as she's cast away from the life she's always known. It's a game we wanted to make all our lives, basically. And for us, what we really wanted to explore was a marriage of a cinematic experience and
drugi typek to ma vibe z tego wywiadu z Affleckiem i Henry Cavillem. Bo właśnie akurat z Batman v Superman.
Bridge and union is what really inspired us to go and make our own video game.
Exactly, and such a big integral part of the experience is how you as a player choose to interact with the characters around you, the different companions, the characters that you'll run into when you're going about in the game and trying to solve all the issues that the player you'll be facing as a player.
What was the inspiration behind it?
We're at a remarkable point in the game industry where, you know, a relatively small team is able to tackle such an ambitious vision, and it's actually reasonable. And I think we've just recently arrived at that point. You know, there have been some really great games making leaps in the past few years, kind of paving the way for this as the tools and hardware and software get more accessible and affordable for smaller developers. We kind of, you know, in the early days of Midgard, we came to realize that a game like this might be possible. And it seemed unreal to us that it might be at the time. But, you know, growing the team and building up the tech and pipelines in-house, you know, we saw that this was, in fact, possible and it's an absolute dream for everyone at the company to
Kurde,
be
to na przykład
privileged enough to work on
jestem
like
ciekaw,
this
jak
and
ta
to,
gra wygląda w
really
ogóle,
shape,
więc tu na przykład chętnie
the
bym
game that we all want to
zobaczył
make.
jakiś trailer.
Yeah, so kind of sticking on that point of development and how technology often drives the direction of how a game evolves throughout its development. How close to the original concept is the game now?
That's a really good question. So it's rather close. Like I would say we didn't really do any large pivots. We did make some changes, of course, as the vision evolved and as we understood better kind of what the game was going to be and kind of how we scoped it to fit a team that would be able to execute on it. But I think, you know, we were always, you know, from day one that the idea for the game kind of conceptualized, we were looking at the technology that was allow us to make this game, you know, going for really, you know, realistic and stunning visuals.
No właśnie, za to podobno,
you know, digital doubles for
nie wiem, czy już wyszła, czy zaraz wyjdzie,
you know,
next-genowa wersja Jedi Fallen Order.
Development engines, next gen,
I powiem szczerze, ja nie
game
wiem, co to jeszcze raz przeszedł.
kind of all those things were
Zwłaszcza,
in
że
place for us to
next-genowe
make the
wersje
game.
na
I think the
PS5
primary things that have
działają
changed in the
tak,
making
że po
of the
prostu
game
się ściąga
are more
natywną
in the
wersję
details of the execution of that. How we
PS5, to jest
structure
jakby
the
oddzielna
story,
gra, ma oddzielne
what
trofea i
kind
tak
of
dalej,
mechanics we
oddzielne
want in a
savey,
game like that,
więc jakby będzie można sobie znowu
really
przejść od zera.
what the identity of our game is and how we separate that from other games.
We genuinely have been making this game. This game, even though it is slightly different.
Yeah.
My work as narrative director has not had to change a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've mentioned obviously at the start and throughout what we've spoke about so far that you guys are based in Iceland and everyone knows the like picturesque scenery of Iceland. Did you get much inspiration from your homeland in the environment?
Yes, absolutely. You know, Iceland is
No właśnie
such a
zastanawiam się,
phenomenal
znaczy
place
mnie już
to
podali,
live
co
in,
tam
and it's a
polepszyli, że
beautiful
właśnie
country that's been
podwyższyli
featured
rozdzielczość
in,
tekstur w tej
many
next-genowej
films and video
wersji,
games before us.
stabilniejszy framerate i tak dalej, a no i przede wszystkim loadingi szybkie, bo muszę przyznać, że nawet na next genach, jak się odpaliło w trybie wstecznej kompatybilności tego Fallen Order, to mimo, że poprawili framerate, to loadingi no nie były jakieś wiele szybsze. Więc jeżeli to zmienili na lepsze, to fajnie. Zwłaszcza, że upgrade do next gena jest za darmo,
więc nearly one-to-one replicas of them, you know, in the game. But the game itself isn't based in Iceland, of course. We're just taking inspiration from the more fantasy level vistas and visuals.
Because while all this is true, while we love Iceland and while we'd be fools not to utilize the access we have to Icelandic natural phenomenons to scan and take references from, we don't want to make a game about Vikings. Because it's something that's been done a lot, and we really want to make a unique IP that is
widzę
ours,
ostro
and that no one has seen.
Na Twitterze.
Yeah, and we kind of touched on characters, and you mentioned the main character at the very start. Tell us about her. Tell us, you know, what made you choose her? Why does she exist the way that she exists?
I'll hand that one off to you, I think.
Yeah, it's always a tricky question to answer without getting
serio,
into
naprawdę.
any sort of spoilers.
Rzekaliśmy wczoraj na tamten event, ale
as I say, she is a character, a person trained from birth to be a weapon in service to the crown.
Skok w dół.
I was really fascinating in exploring the difference between a person that is
do tamtego show, który przynajmniej miał jakieś tempo, były jakieś trailery, jakieś gameplay.
And Rin is a character burdened by purpose and chained to it. She
serio, siedzę na krześle i nic nie robię, a czuję się
not by her own
zmęczony.
volition, but one that she has inherent to her birth and very existence. Throughout this game in particular, we want to explore the journey of going beyond that purpose and going beyond what role you are born into.
No, Koch Media chyba nie wydaje Elden Ring, więc wątpię.
Basically.
Chyba, że będzie taki plot twist, że Koch Media kupiło From Software.
Both a pariah and a uniquely powerful individual. But with that power come certain challenges and certain superstitions that she's challenged to overcome. I think that's general enough to avoid spoilers.
Yeah,
Would you like to add to that?
And you know, just to add a layer to that, I think with the main character, she's, you know, throughout the game, you're constantly meeting new people. Kind of, we're setting her in, you know, we start with her familiar setting, her kind of role in society, and her kind of what's expected of her, and we kind of break free from that throughout the game as we meet different characters and And Rin kind of finds her own path and
Teraz za każdym razem, jak dochodzimy do końca danego wywiadu i się pojawia zawsze w rogu ten napis, który mówi what's next, to po prostu za każdym razem teraz się modlę, żeby się nie pojawił, żeby to już był koniec.
I think what really heightens Rin as a character in the game is the performance by the excellent
Ale powiem szczerze, że w sumie to przemyśleli to sobie, bo teraz naprawdę niewiele muszą zrobić w przyszłym roku, żeby było lepiej niż w tym.
What's the hardest part of game development so far? I know you guys are still in the development, but what's been the most challenging?
I będą ludzie pisać, że no, to jest naprawdę duży improvement, nice. Wzięli sobie feedback do serca. Mogę polecić film, chyba nawet już ci go polecałem, nie wiem czy obejrzałeś w końcu, Borg vs. McEnroe. Widziałem, że cały czas jest na Twitterze. Na Netflixie, Boże.
And we've been lucky enough to find the right people so far, and we have, exceptionally talented people on board with us making this game. And I think while that is, often from the outset, it's an invisible part of game development, but it's absolutely essential and extremely difficult.
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned before that, Iceland's quite small. Does that mean that you guys kind of struggle to find that talent that's out there, or
było warto.
is it quite rich in terms
Znaczy
of
nie, no mam nadzieję, że jutro będzie warto, albo chociaż w niedzielę
as
będzie
usual, Iceland is
warto.
per capita.
Się okaże, że było warto. Ale dziś to fakt, no mocno mi opadł hype po dzisiejszym.
That's not really a useful metric when you look at the fact that we're only like 300,000 people, basically a small fisher town someplace. But Iceland is completely unique in the way that CCP,
Shia jest zajebisty w tym
well-known
filmie.
developer here in Iceland, kind of paved the way for
A co
all the
znowu w sumie
other
Shia
game
zrobił,
developers
bo już
here
nie
that are now
kojarzę.
thriving. We have a great educational
Bo
infrastructure
on to
that
miał wiele
pretty much covers all the different fields of game development here in Iceland. So we have exceptional talent coming out. And so I think,
dobra, już wiem, że go
considering
tam
the
pozwała
size,
ta...
we have great access to talent. And another part of it is that we've had a lot of Icelanders who
Ciężko będzie
got
znaleźć
into game
dobry
development-
film bez
game
Shia,
development
chyba
early,
fa.
and
Nie no, żartuję.
moved to other countries and then moved back with a lot of experience.
Dobra, to
helping
może mamy
new
jakąś drugą
teams form
propozycję, ale
and
nie
build
mogę.
games here.
A Sleepy
So
Hollow
while
widziałeś? Moim
it's
zdaniem to jeszcze
definitely a
film
challenge
Bartona
to,
tych
find people in a
fajnych, które
smaller
jeszcze były
nation.
fajne.
We're blessed by the fact that we do have
Też widziałem, że... A nie, kurde, ale tam jest depth,
and we have
fuck.
an educational system that is actively each year graduating new students who know game development.
What Haldor is saying is that we're a nation of nerds.
Yes. And like another per capita is that, I don't know, it's an incredibly high number of people in Iceland who play games at all ages.
Yep.
Like an insanely high number.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And, we've kind of mentioned what's the most difficult part about game development, but what are you most proud of up until this point?
That's, it's not, it's a difficult question to answer because there's so many things. I mean,
Myślę,
making
co ja
games
ostatnio
is,
widziałem?
it
Ten
takes
Oxygen
so
Netflixowy
many people
był całkiem
to do
spoko.
so many things for it to go correctly. And I think what we're most proud of is that so far we seem to be doing it correctly. With the great people. So I think what we're most proud of is the team and the progress that we made with this team.
Sleepy Hollow jest bardzo
I think
fajne,
that's a
bardzo mi
very
się
good answer
podobało.
in general.
Chyba ze 2
Just
razy widziałem, czy 3
the
nawet.
talent we've collected
Teraz
around
właśnie
us
zamierzam jeszcze
and
raz
the
obejrzeć z
friendships
Gosią.
that have formed so strongly within this company.
Yeah.
I think that's invaluable and is what's going to drive it forward.
And then, finally, guys, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch Media and being part of their brand new label?
That's a great question. So obviously we touched on the part that we're kind of stuck in Iceland, so our outreach is quite limited on an island in the sea. No, but all jokes aside, the main benefit is that it's an extension of the team, and it's a great extension of the team.
Yeah.
We talk about the things that have been the most difficult, and that's building the team, and the things that we're most proud of, which is again the team that we built. And for us, Koch is a fantastic extension to the team. You know, it's a publisher full of great people who are
Kurde,
really
no aż mi
passionate
się
about
przypomniało,
games.
jak Microsoft
and they're
nagle
empowering us to
stworzył
deliver these
ten
games,
swój
you know,
Microsoft
worldwide.
Studios, ten
And I
label
think
i
that
dał
is
info,
anything,
że
developer
należą do
and
tego
business
takie,
developer could
takie
ask
i
for
takie
in a
studia. O
publisher.
nie, coming up,
And we are
fuck, jeszcze coś będzie.
absolutely glad to have you
I dołączył do
guys.
tego takie
Thank you
studia,
so much for
no
your
to po prostu to była
time, and I
plansza
cannot
na
wait to give
ekranie
people more
i wyszedł typ
information
i to
about
powiedział
Echoes of
i
the End.
to w zasadzie było wszystko, a tutaj
From one
z takiego newsa
all
zrobili
the way to the other.
godzinny show.
If you like the game Gothic and hardcore RPGs, The Last Oracrew is just for you.
Naprawdę jechali ludzie na Twitterze? Nie widziałem. Tylko widziałem, że mi ludzie pisali, że według nich ten film z Ryanem Reynoldsem lepszy. No, może dlatego, że ja wolę klimaty SF. Może nie tyle wolę, ale lubię bardzo, więc dla mnie Oksygen był fajniejszy. Ale też nikt nie pisał tam, że ten film jest beznadziejny, tylko że ten z Ryanem Reynoldsem lepszy. A nawet nie kojarzę, czy ten film miał jakieś
It's an
pozytywne
action
oceny.
RPG where I try to show the relativity of good and evil from different perspective of living and breathing world.
Ale fakt, że ja nie śledzę dużo filmowych Twitterów, więc może mogę nie widzieć. Nie ma pozytywne oceny
It is
i od
important to understand
widowni,
that The Last Oracrew is quite challenging and skill-based RPG,
i od
but
krytyków.
compared to many other titles in this genre, our
Myślałem,
story does
że
not take place in some dark and deadly realm. Waking up in a living and breathing sci-fi medieval world of Wardenia, players find themselves in the middle of war for supremacy over the whole planet.
There is something interesting about the war, as usually warriors of each side believe that they do the right thing, often fighting for survival and well-being of their people. So the idea of the game is to
no i widziałem
show
bardzo
the
fajny
player the
film,
war
tylko
and the
dokument,
euphoria
który
of the winners,
no,
but also
może
the
nie dla
misery of
każdego
the
być
loser.
interesujący,
To make the
ale
player
widziałem
realize
dokument
that
o
the number of decisions he can make in the game
tych
will affect all the
efektach
living beings in the
gitarowych
world.
i o tym, jak wpłynęły
So
na
you mentioned
muzykę,
that you make
ewolucji
choices
tego w
during
ogóle
The Last
fenomenu.
Oracrew.
To było
How
mega
impactful
ciekawe.
are they?
The impact is major. First of all, you are the one who decides which side will win the war. But there are many different roads through the game, and you can experience
No tak,
the whole
Oksygen
game
jest bardzo
only
właśnie
after
fajny,
multiple
taki
playthroughs. I want to
mały
give
film,
every player
ale
his own experience and try
zakończenie
not
mi się
to
bardzo
push any
podobało.
moral code of what is wrong and what is right.
Chociaż
Simply, you
no,
make the decision and
przewidziałem
actions, and
część.
based on that, individual characters
Ale
have their
część,
own
ale nie
reactions.
całą.
This creates different situation, so you can find your own friends and allies and play the way how you think it's right or fun.
Exactly. Each player can define their own path to side with different factions or betray them and influence the future of each race and in the end
Boże, dlaczego on
the
ma
entire
teleprompter
planet,
chyba albo
and it
jakiegoś
is not
iPada z
done
notatkami
just by few choices
na dole.
somewhere in dialogues or by completing some quests, but by your continuous actions and decisions. Let me give you an example. In many scenarios, you are asked to kill the general of Redkin people. And you can obviously refuse doing that, but if you decide to kill him, there are many possibilities of what you can do with his head, which serves as a proof of his death. You can keep it and become hero, or you can give it to the queen and come closer to her heart, or you can give it to another characters of this conflict with different outcomes.
Ale w sumie biedni ci deweloperzy, chociaż tak naprawdę z tego co widzę, to nikt raczej jakby do nich nie ma pretensji, tylko raczej do organizatorów tego show. Ale czuję, że właśnie może oni mogli wiedzieć, że to jest zły pomysł, ale właśnie pan Koch Media ma pieniądze i powiedział, że im da, no ale muszą się postarać i wystąpić w tym.
That's another interesting thing, that often there is some hidden party involved in many wars, which profits from both sides of the conflict and the conflict itself. So that's a bit of the hidden part in the game, which you can play, but it will be a little bit difficult to play.
So the game has co-op. Can a friend help me with the boss battles? Can we play the whole entire game together? How does this work?
You know those lonely nights when you play games which are super exciting for you, but you feel a little bit sad that you cannot share that experience with anyone? That was generally the idea.
Yeah, there is a great demand for couch play in the whole third-person action RPG genre. So we are sure that for our future audience, the co-op is going to be one
Wiem
of the
jedno na
most,
pewno, że
the
potem
key
sobie
features
muszę
of our
zrobić
game.
przerwę, napić
And
się,
that's why we went
zrelaksować się
even
chwilę i może
farther.
potem
We have many situations what
wrócę
can be solved in co-op
ze
differently than
streamem
in single player.
z
So you
Ratcheta.
can find new fun ways of how to kill some bosses or solve some puzzles
Dobra,
or
patrzę
in
na
some
Twittera.
special secret areas. But you know, at the end of
nie,
the
ktoś mnie
day,
atakował.
combat is bread and butter of an RPG. So if you, for example, play as a melee tank, while the second player plays a magic support, you will enjoy tens of awesome hours of shared fun.
Oh, wait, so you're telling me there's magic and melee?
O
What does this
kurde.
mean for the combat of the game?
Widzę, że
the combat is
pomyśleliśmy o tym
touched at more
samym.
experienced players. I'm very much on the wave of recent challenging RPGs that are based on the skills of the player, timing and stamina. We are trying to build some
Oh,
interesting
kurde.
magic mechanism in the game that would let you use some more than block and fast attack buttons.
But you know, don't forget that our world has sci-fi roots. So what is for someone magic can be for more developed culture or technology.
But be prepared to die.
A lot.
Like a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Kurde, ale naprawdę
And finally,
o tym
guys,
to
I just want to ask
jutrzejszy
you,
Ubi
what
będzie
does it
nadawał
mean
zajebiste,
to
więc
be under Koch
sumie
Media's
to
brand new label?
się cieszę.
Honestly, it was the best step we could do in our game development.
W
It helped us
Ubisoftie przynajmniej
dramatically
będą,
increase the capacity
będzie
of
numer
our development
taneczny,
team and focus primarily on
będzie
the game
wesoło,
itself. And yet we still
będą
have full
kolory
creative
i
control
będzie coś
over
się
the
ruszało
game.
na ekranie
And all
poza
the feedback we are
głowami.
getting is really helping us to make better games. So far it was the best decision ever.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that I could use my long-standing experience with big publishing houses and restructure the game and the team to shape which was the right fit for such a strong partner as a Koch Media. From the very beginning of our cooperation with Pavel, we were thinking big and aiming at building a really memorable new game franchise. And being part of the starting portfolio of a brand new Koch Media label gives us a
Właśnie
great
widzę, ludzie piszą
opportunity
na
to fully achieve it.
Twitterze,
Thank you so
że
much,
przecież
Pavel
część z
and
tych
Vladimir,
gier
for your
ma
time. It's been
screeny
awesome talking to
na
you
Steamie i tak
everything
dalej, że
the
mogli
last
właśnie
hour
cokolwiek
crew,
pokazywać
and I
w
just
tle,
can't wait
ale
for
to
people
jest...
to get their hands on it.
Okay, bye bye.
Kurde, następnym razem naprawdę ja im mogę zmontować to
Let's hear from
wszystko.
our friends at Starbreeze to talk about Payday 2, Payday 3, and their upcoming cooperation with Prime Matter.
Thank you, Jeff, and hi, everyone. We're excited to be here, excited to talk about Payday, and excited to be working with Prime Matter. At Starbreeze, we see Payday as the ultimate bank robbing experience, inspired by classic heist
O,
movies,
tu przynajmniej ktoś
providing
widać, że
adrenaline-fueled
jakoś to
gameplay
wyprodukował.
where you get to experience the thrill of being on the wrong side of the law with a smart plan and a gun in your hand. This is what we've been doing since the original game, Payday the Heist, through the sequel, Payday 2, to the upcoming Payday 3. And our ever-growing player community, our heisters, continue to be an inspiration for us in everything we do, pushing us to make the best Payday possible.
No, Payday to nie jest kompletnie dla mnie. Ale przynajmniej sam materiał, co się dzieje.
Where order is kept by the long arm of the law. At least until the heisters turn this order into chaos, giving the law the middle finger. That's when adrenaline truly kicks in and the outnumbered gang keeps beating the odds, often escaping with the cash in a hail of bullets. The Payday universe has an ongoing narrative that has been created over the years. The gang has built a reputation by going after the highest profile targets, setting up some of the craziest heist plans, and going up against some of the most powerful of enemies. And through all of this, the gang keeps coming out on top.
Ale tu pamiętam, że
In their exploits,
w Paydayu
the gang has
2
become, as
były
they
jakieś
call
takie
it,
fajne
the tightest
cross-promocje.
crew ever. The wider criminal underworld of Payday
W sensie
lives its
było
own
chyba
life
z
where
Breaking
movers
Bad
and shakers
coś.
want a piece of the action.
Pamiętam, że
Or
nawet
a piece of
ten
the Payday gang.
Ethan and
In the
Hila z
gang's
tego, jak
life
oni
of
się
crime,
nazywali.
they are way past the point of no return.
Kurde, już nawet nie
And
będę
as we
myślał,
look
jak kanał
ahead for
nazywa, tak
what's
dawno
to
nie
come,
wrzucali.
the gang will
Ale
learn that
z
there's
nimi
no
był jakiś
rest
delcek.
for the wicked.
This legacy is something that we treasure and will build on, expanding on this epic story, taking you all with us into the future of Payday. Many millions of players have enjoyed Payday so far. It's been an
no właśnie,
amazing
John
journey
Wick
for
też
us
był.
at Starbreeze. On Steam, Payday 2 has the biggest player community of any game. This truly means the world to us.
Payday turns 10 this year, but we're only getting started. With our team hard at work, cooperation with Prime Matter and other partners, and above all, a fantastic player community. we are
Kurde,
looking
ale
to
w
the
sumie
future
dzięki
with
temu, że
great
oni
anticipation.
jakkolwiek wyprodukowali swój materiał, To się wyróżniają
The release
mocno
of
na
Payday
tle
3
reszty.
is years away, but we could finish off today with a sneak peek of what we're working on, a taste of things to come.
No, ja też parę razy grałem właśnie w koopie Payday 2, no ale właśnie to nie jest taka gra, w którą będę grał godzinami. Znaczy bym grał, ale tak, koopie było spoko. Pamiętam, że po prostu komuś pomagałem chyba zdobyć jakieś tam trofeum, które mi brakowało. Nie wiedziałem, co się działo, bo wszyscy tam już byli mega zaawansowani, ale było fajnie.
Providing you guys with gameplay content, achievement and trophy hunting streams, as well as Dungeons and Dragons in our own universes, cooking streams, and so much more. We also want to get our developers involved
Cooking
and have it so
streams?
that you guys get to know our developers better. Not only that, but expect to see a lot more shows from us in the future.
Właśnie, powinienem chyba w ogóle ten kubeczek
Jeff
z
can help
tym
us out too.
przesunąć na drugą
Absolutely. I
stronę, bo
cannot
cały
wait
czas
to see
twardy.
what Prime Matter has for us in the future.
Poprawię.
Thanks for announcing
Chociaż
with us
tyle-
yesterday at Summer Game
tyle z tego
Fest, and
będzie.
I look forward to being back with you again later this summer.
O, i pyk.
No worries, Jeff, and thank you for your time. It's been awesome hosting with you, and I can't wait to do more in the future. And a thanks to you guys watching, to the streamers who are
kurde,
co-streaming,
mogłem to zrobić
to our
o wiele
new
wcześniej.
gamers who are
Teraz to o wiele
looking
lepiej
forward to the
wygląda.
titles that we've shown you today. We are focusing on making fun, unique, and honest content for you guys. So, stay safe, stay cool, and I
Dzięki.
will
No,
see you guys on
nagrodą
Monday.
chyba będzie granie w Ratcheta zaraz. A w każdym razie miłego oglądania i dzięki, że wpadłeś. O kurde, stream over. Jezu. Dobra. Dzięki wszystkim i przepraszam. To okazał się słaby pomysł, ale no, także może za parę minut, w sensie skończę tego streama, muszę odpocząć, coś się napić i może potem wrócę ze streamem Ratcheta, a jeżeli nie, to no, trzymajcie się. Tak, wytrzymaliśmy do końca. Achievement unlocked. Oh boy. No niestety, trailera na koniec nie było. Okej, no, ale naprawdę, dzięki temu Ubisoft co by nie pokazał, pewnie będzie bardzo spoko jutro, więc no, do zobaczenia na następnym streamie, może zaraz na Ratchetie, a jak nie to jutro na Ubisoftie, więc no, trzymajcie się i dzięki, że ze mną